So let me get some affirmations in.
Even some family members who became cold and unavailable. The money trail is going to reveal everything. They wanted you
So y'all, I
isolated
was on
because they
Facebook.
thought a chosen one.
I was on Facebook, so just walked back from the store. I was already listening to this video, but I'm listening to Astral Autumn on YouTube for my notifications.
Without human support would be vulnerable, but they made the biggest mistake in cosmic history because isolation forced you to rely entirely on divine protection. And divine protection doesn't just defend, it annihilates anyone who threatens what belongs to the Most High. Right now, every single person who took money to
Yeah, I'll
abandon
put
you
my mic.
is experiencing spiritual bondage so severe they can't even function properly. Their finances are collapsing, their relationships are imploding, their health is deteriorating, and they're all starting to realize that the money they received was cursed from the moment it touched their hands. While you were dealing with the emotional trauma of abandonment, these criminals were busy using your personal information to commit fraud that's so extensive the FBI is going to be involved. They used your name to open accounts, apply for loans, even attempt to claim inheritance money that legally belongs to you. The paper trail they created is about to surface in a way that's going to send shockwaves through everyone who thought they were untouchable. But here's the part that's going to blow your mind. The person who was supposed to be closest to you, the one whose betrayal hurt the most, they were the inside source who provided all your personal information to the fraud ring. Every document they needed, every piece of identification, every detail about your financial history, it all came from someone you trusted completely. The digital forensics team has already traced the transactions back to the source, and when those arrest warrants are served, it's going to expose a criminal network so vast that some of these people are going to spend decades in prison. But prison is going to be the least of their worries once the full weight of cosmic justice catches up with them. Something happened recently that sent terror through the entire conspiracy network. Someone connected to the plot against you died suddenly
Hmm.
and unexpectedly. Not just anyone, but someone who was instrumental in
Yep.
organizing your downfall. The moment this person passed away, everyone else involved knew they were marked by the universe. Because chosen ones don't just have guardian angels, they have warring angels, and warring angels don't issue warnings. When someone crosses the line with heaven's favorite, the consequences are swift, severe, and sometimes final. That unexpected death was a message to everyone else involved. Your time is running out. Now the remaining conspirators are panicking because they can see the pattern. Everything started going wrong for them the moment they moved against you, and with this death, they know the universe isn't playing games. Some of them are having panic attacks, some of them can't sleep, some of them are having spiritual experiences that are absolutely terrifying them. The Most High doesn't send regular angels to protect chosen ones, he sends the cosmic special forces. These aren't gentle guardian spirits, whispering sweet encouragements. These are the universe's elite warriors, whose only job is to
Thank
completely
you.
destroy anyone
Let
who
me peek at
threatens
the
their
baby.
assigned chosen
I
one.
can't let her see
Every
me because
curse
she
they
gonna
sent your way has been redirected
do too
back to
much.
them with supernatural interest. Every lie they told about you is becoming their reality. Every trap they set for you is catching them instead. The spiritual warfare happening around you right now is so intense that sensitive people can actually feel the energy shifting in their favor. But these warriors don't just defend, they hunt. Right now they're systematically dismantling the lives of everyone who participated in your betrayal. Careers are ending, relationships are exploding, health problems are manifesting, financial ruin is spreading through their bloodlines like a spiritual virus. While the spiritual warriors handle the cosmic justice, the earthly legal system is building cases that are going to result in multiple arrests. The evidence against the conspiracy network is so overwhelming that prosecutors are probably fighting over who gets to handle such a slam-dunk case. Bank records showing suspicious transactions, digital communications planning your downfall, forged documents with your information, video surveillance of meetings where your destruction was planned. The evidence is so extensive that some defendants are going to plead guilty just to
I
avoid
just
the
got some.
embarrassment of having their crimes read aloud
I
in
had to
open
put some
court.
icy hot on.
But the legal consequences are just the earthly reflection of the cosmic judgment that's already been rendered. These people aren't just going to lose their freedom, they're going to lose everything they ever valued, everything they ever worked for, everything they thought made them important. Remember how they tried to make you look crazy when you sensed something was wrong? How they convinced mutual friends that you were paranoid, dramatic, unstable. How they orchestrated an entire character assassination campaign to destroy your
I love
credibility
you, Father.
before
I
you could
love you so
expose them.
much.
Every
Thank you.
single person who
Thank you.
participated in making you doubt your
Thank
own
you.
reality is about to experience a level of public humiliation that will be talked about for years.
Father, you are
Because
awesome.
when divine
Thank
light
you so
exposes
much.
lies, those lies don't just crumble, they explode in the faces of everyone who told
So
them.
much.
The people who believed their version of events are going to feel sick when they realize how they were manipulated into abandoning an innocent person. The mutual friends who chose sides against you are going to be mortified when they understand they were used as weapons in someone else's war against heaven's chosen. Multiple people from this conspiracy are going to prison. Chosen one. Not maybe, not possibly, nice definitely. The sentencing phase is just a formality because the cosmic court has already rendered its verdict, and earthly courts always align with divine justice when chosen ones are involved.
Bro,
The person who
everybody made fun of me because of me talking about this stuff. And I've been telling the fucking truth the whole time. The whole time. I get picked at. I can't believe everybody fucking abandoned me, bro. Y'all make these people laugh at me, bro.
provided your personal information for the fraud, prison. The ringleader who organized the abandonment campaign, prison. The person who handled the money used to pay off your... Hello.
This is
My name
God.
is Adam
He's
Ferrari,
speaking for me.
Chief Executive
Because he
Officer of
see
Phoenix Energy.
everybody just do
I
this
look
shit to
forward to
me.
you, friends.
He
Prison.
see it.
Some of these
God, you
sentences are
fucking
going to
see
be
it.
so severe that families will be destroyed and children will grow up visiting their parents behind bars. But here's what's really wild. Some of them are going to try to reach out to you from prison, begging for forgiveness, asking you to somehow intervene on their behalf. They'll write letters explaining how sorry they are, how they were manipulated, how they realize now that you were innocent all along. When someone comes against a chosen one, the consequences don't just affect them, they affect everyone connected to them through blood,
So much.
marriage, or close association. Right now, entire family trees are experiencing simultaneous disasters that can't be explained through normal circumstances. Children of the conspirators are having problems in school. Spouses are developing mysterious health issues. Parents are losing their retirement savings. Siblings are facing unexpected legal troubles. The curse that activated when they moved against you is spreading through their bloodlines like spiritual cancer. But the most terrifying part for them is that they can
God
see
is
the
funny.
pattern.
Thank you.
They can trace
He
every
said
problem
spiritual
back to the
cancer.
moment someone in their family
Thank you.
participated in your betrayal. They know this isn't coincidence. They know this is
It's like,
judgment.
my child, they mock you for having physical cancer, but they will live with eternal spiritual
They know
cancer.
there's absolutely nothing they can do to stop it. You need to understand something profound about your identity, chosen one. You're not just protected by the universe, you are a cosmic judge. Your very existence in people's lives is a test of their character, and how they treat you determines their fate. The person who betrayed you wasn't just hurting your feelings, they were failing a divine examination. They were presented with an opportunity
God
to
is
stand with
testing you.
righteousness,
God
and
is
they chose
testing you.
evil.
I say this
They
a
were
lot,
given a
and y'all
chance
think
to
I'm just
protect innocence,
buku
and
crazy
they
for
chose
telling you that.
greed.
God
They
is
were offered a
testing you,
moment to
bitch.
demonstrate
You just
love,
told you
and they
yourself.
chose betrayal. The moment they
You
made
just
that
told you
choice,
yourself.
the cosmic court rendered its verdict. Everything happening to them now isn't revenge. It's the execution of a divine sentence. announced the second they decided to move against heaven's chosen. Eventually, they're going to tell you everything. They're going to confess how they were paid to leave you. They're going to admit they knew about the fraud. They're going to reveal the names of everyone involved in the conspiracy. They're going to beg for your forgiveness with tears streaming down their faces. And when they do, you'll feel vindicated. You'll feel validated. You'll feel like finally people will understand that you weren't crazy. You weren't imagining things. You weren't the problem. But here's what you need to know. Their confession isn't going to save them from what's coming. Because this was never about getting them to admit their guilt. This was about divine justice being served. And divine justice doesn't need human cooperation to be devastatingly effective. The revelation of this conspiracy isn't going to be quiet or private. It's going to be loud, public, and impossible to ignore. News outlets are going to pick up the story. Social media is going to explode with the details. Everyone who needs to know what these people did to you is going to find out in the most humiliating way possible. Think about how mortifying it will be when everyone discovers they participated in destroying an innocent person's life for money. Imagine the shame.
This is why I say people love me more than money. This is why I've been saying this for so long. Because I see y'all niggas turning on me for these people. I see it. You chose the material things and the money over me. When you ain't have to do that, you could have got both with me. You could have got both.
Find out their parents are criminals. Picture the embarrassment when their co-workers realize they've been working alongside people who would betray their closest friends for cash. The exposure is going to be so complete and so devastating that some of them will have to relocate just to escape the judgment of people who thought they knew them. While they face the destruction they brought upon themselves, you're going to experience a vindication so complete and so public that it becomes legendary in your community. Everyone who doubted you will apologize. Everyone who believed lies about you will feel ashamed. Everyone who abandoned you will try to come back, but you won't need their apologies or their attempts to reconcile because you'll be too busy stepping into the most incredible chapter of your life. The blessings that are coming your way are going to be so abundant.
I was so patient and calm because I know people didn't know. Father, I was so forgiving. I was so gentle with people. I tried not to snap on people when it got too bad. When these people have me fucked up out here, bro. But if there's a will, there's a way. And you showed me every way was possible for me. So I love you, Father, so much. Yeah. I love you so much. My grandma is in my energy a lot. My aunties, but really my grandma, because we crossed the same path. She told me, she fucking told me. She fucking told me that people like this was bound. She didn't call them what I call them, but it was groups of people that followed us everywhere. I was with Granny. Granny, I got you. Fuck them. I do this for you right now. I saw people peeking in Granny window. They don't want me to tell you this shit. They killed my grandma. They killed my grandma. They fucking killed Granny. They poisoned Granny. They fucking voice in my granny when I can't say it because nobody go. They don't want me to say it. I was with granny every time. People was peeking in her window. And it wasn't just regular people. They was telling me when I was little that it was my daddy, bro. Family, niggas who was picking at my daddy. And they used to say it was my daddy, bro. So when I became a teenager, I went to investigate because that's who I am. I always been like that. I used to pop up on Granny, especially when I got a car. For the first time, I spent a lot of time with Granny in her garden, watching Sanford and Son, watching Good Times, and talking about this program, talking about the Jews. She said they ruined her life and they killed my granddaddy. She said that they did that to him. And I, I understand now. She wasn't crazy, y'all. Y'all said she had Alzheimer's and dementia. Y'all, y'all said that. But I don't have Alzheimer's and dementia. You did the same. You doing the same thing you did to Granny. You discredit what she fucking said and said she was crazy, nigga. But I saw it before I became crazy, like you say. Before anything happened to me in my life, I saw it with my own eyes, nigga. I saw it. It wasn't my daddy. It was people I never met before that was in her window. So explain why people also did do that to me. They started when I was 15. I want the whole world to know. They started with me peeking in my window. Peeking in my window. In my house. I got neighbors who chased them off. I got neighbors who said, get the fuck from that little girl window. I got neighbors who helped me when I was sitting in my mama's car when this man ejaculated on the window. And Miss Carolyn from upstairs, I pray she's protected. She ran outside and said, get your nasty ass from right there with that girl. Tell me why. They followed me home from school, me and my friend Nene. They did that to my friend. They don't want me to tell you. They killed my friend, dog. And all my friends bullied me for that shit because they told them I had something to do with it, dog. Nigga, I didn't have shit to do with that shit, nigga. They did that shit. They did that shit. They tried to take me too, nigga. They invited me too to that stupid ass white party, nigga. And all y'all abandoned me, nigga. Y'all threw metal trash cans at me in school, nigga. I had to go to physical therapy after the ambulance picking me up from high school, nigga. After y'all was throwing big trash cans at me. Wet tissue papers at me, putting me in trash cans and rolling me down the hallway, nigga. That's on camera, nigga. I ain't gotta lie. Nigga, it's okay. It's in history books, nigga, of hospitals of me checking in, people taking me. It's in the documents of me doing physical therapy after that happened. And I ain't get a dime because that man, Mr. Proctor, he took my cash. Yeah, nigga. I need to tell y'all how they tried to put me and Nene in the white van. Her baby was sick. We was at the hospital, North Shore Hospital in Miami, Florida, nigga. Jackson Hospital too. We was at both. We went to Jackson Hospital. They followed us. Nigga tried to take us. And she died. She died right after that, nigga. She died a month after that. I had years to think about the time frame. That happened a month after them niggas tried to put us in the white van. That happened right after Nene told me these people kept following her. And she saw them people follow me at the train station. She said, "Here, V, take my phone," because my phone was off. He go to the feds that told everybody just because they listened to my voice clips of me thinking she left me hanging that day and she was dead the whole day. Y'all niggas lied to people. Yeah, she gave me the phone because people was following us, nigga. She didn't want me to travel from down south back home by myself with no phone. She gave it to me, nigga, so I could make it back after we left the hospital, nigga, with her baby. And friends was writing crazy comments talking about you don't really know her, she on this, and y'all went against me, man. But guess what, Nene? She been my angel. She saw everything and she discussed it with y'all niggas for doing me like that. Big facts, because I was innocent. I was innocent. I have dreams of a crazy comic book movie all the time of her watching me cry in my room when she died. It's like she passed over. She wanted me to know that when she passed over, she saw me in there. She saw me in my room. So that makes sense to when my earrings flew. I told stories about this to everybody. My therapist, when I was little, that when I was in the room crying, some earrings flew and hit me, bro. I even told Shad when he came, because he knew it was something up. He was like, "Are you okay? You didn't go to school." And I said, "I'm supposed to been waiting on Nene. She ain't come." He know I was calling her while we was walking. Like, "You okay? Damn, I can't believe we supposed to take pictures today." All that time, the girl was dead. Bro, I had to see it on the news, nigga. Them niggas, this shit traumatized me. And then the feds come to that. This true story, nigga. They could come arrest me if I'm lying, nigga, and they could still do it. I'ma still get justified. They tried to put me in jail for something I didn't do. And they messing with my mama because my mama wouldn't lie. She told them she was home. Cause I was. If I would have went with her that night, they would have, whatever happened, if I didn't die with her, they would have blamed it on me. They would have blamed that shit. I would have been like those boys at the park on that movie that God just showed me last night. The 5 Chrism, whatever that shit in New York. Bro. But I'm like the dream the boy had when he was in jail, when his girl told him he dreamed himself taking his girl advice instead and didn't go with his friends. It's like the angels, like, it's like, baby, I'm happy you didn't go. You got so much more to give the world. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, y'all. I had to let that out. I've been holding it for so long, bro. I know that people don't understand, so I just try to keep the shit to myself. But I'm so hurt that people are abandoning me. A innocent, not fuck innocent, a good person, dog. So, let's tell the truth. Why am I so giving like this? Why am I so kind? So I tell the truth. So, my whole life, because I feel like I died in 2004. I've been daydreaming that my friend's news, his TV. I've been daydreaming that. That's why I call my whole life daydreaming. I was daydreaming that clip on the fucking TV for years. I was mute. I didn't talk to people, bro. I didn't talk to nobody, bro. I thought about what the fans said when they came to my house and they said she died a minute after our call dropped, nigga. And then I started thinking of the static noise, bro. It's like I was asking myself, bro, was they fucking drowning her on the phone, nigga? And I went about my day after the call, nigga. I've been beating myself up. I went about my whole day after that call. I went about my whole fucking day, nigga. I didn't know she was dead, bro. I wish they would have never told me that shit. And then I healed from it. And then going through all of this shit with these people, it reminds me. Sometimes I think I killed my uncle because they did that to him because of me. Because of me. But it wasn't my fault. He was with that Mason shit. He was with that Mason shit. I'm sorry, he want me to tell y'all. He mad. He's using me to say this shit. He was with that Mason shit. He didn't know no fucking better, nigga. So y'all think that I'm getting y'all life messed up because I'm speaking? No. No. You are, cause you with that Mason shit. You want to be an Eastern Star. You want to be in the sororities.
So obvious, so miraculous that even skeptics will have to acknowledge that you're divinely favored. Your success will become undeniable proof that the universe protects its chosen ones. Your joy will be evidence
Granny, I
that
love you,
divine
baby.
justice is real. Your
I
triumph will
heard
be a
what you said,
testament to what
Granny.
happens
I
when
never
heaven
forgot
fights
what
your
you
battles
said.
for you. The
I know they
conspiracy
did
to
that to you,
isolate you
Granny.
was actually the
And
universe's way
I
of
love you.
preparing you for
And
greatness.
I always
When
love
they
you and
removed
remember
all human
everything you
support
told
from your
me.
life, they forced
I'll
you to
embrace your
discover the
family for
unlimited
you.
power available to
I
chosen
talk
ones
about
who
your
rely
family for you.
completely on divine
You love
backing.
them so
You
much.
didn't get weaker during that season of
That's all you
abandonment.
talked
You
about,
got stronger.
Granny.
You didn't become more
They
vulnerable.
were,
You became more protected. You didn't lose your power.
your
You
family was
discovered
taken.
powers you
I
never
know.
knew you had. The
They
isolation
took
that was meant to
everything
break
from
you
you.
actually
You
transformed
see?
you into someone unstoppable. Now you understand that you
Yes.
never needed their support anyway. You never required their approval. You never depended on their loyalty.
They poisoned my grandma.
Here's why you choose
She
my
was
firm,
throwing up
Affirmations.
blood.
I used
I
to
had
work
to
at
see
an
it.
insurance company.
Y'all, I had to see Granny throwing up blood, bro. And she say, they poisoned me. They trying to kill me. She was saying it. And everybody kept saying, don't say that. And then why the fuck did y'all say that shit? Hold on, don't come straight jacking me. Let me get it out first. Why did y'all say that shit? Why did y'all tell her to shut up and stop saying that? She was telling the truth. They trying to do it to her granddaughter, baby. They poisoned Granny. She knew it. She was alert. She was smart. She was beautiful. So let's just talk about her family, so you can understand why it was so important for them to do that to her. She carried the last, like the last. She had 100% Cherokee blood in her. You know, I got a percentage, but she was one of the last to carry that, and she probably would have lived so long. She would have. I'm just gonna say that she probably would have lived so young, so long. She wouldn't have died at 87, 88, or when she passed, because I was born in 87, right? She wouldn't have. Granny, my baby told me a lot of stories. We pulled a lot of stuff down from the attic. Yeah, a lot of family don't know this, so just be quiet and listen. Take notes. My granny told me about the Trail of Tears and her family. My granny told me that she had to read for her mom. Her mom didn't know how to really read and write, but she wasn't a slave. She was a house nigga. She fed. She was a chef. She was a cook. She was left a plantation. Her mama and massa had a baby. Well, her grandma and massa had a baby. And that was her mom. My grandma told me stories of her mom telling her how she was the nurse for the people, the soldiers. How she, I got you, babe. Oh man. How they made teas with the sugar canes. And how they was slaughtered. How she was able to escape. How they took her mama land. How they tried to take my mama to an all-girls school to fucking study her. And after they took her husband, because she wouldn't let her daughter go to the all-girls school. See, people called her crazy for talking like this. She was just very fucking smart. I believe this where I get the spectrum from. Because you thought she was slow, but she wasn't. She couldn't have been. She was actually smart in her era because she was reading to her mom. That's what she told me. Her mom made clothes because her mom's mom taught her how to make clothes because she made clothes for the Cherokees when they had to escape and blend in wherever they ended up at. So they mimicked them smart people and they dressed like them to get resources. How Big Mama, she talked about Big Mama a lot. Big Mama was actually inherited a plantation because she was a housemaid. She was a nanny, a servant. She wasn't a slave. She took care of massa kids. She raised all their kids and all the slave kids. So you need to understand why it followed their descendants. And a lot of mine, they took fucking brides, thinking that they safe. Because Granny told me that old mank, my granddaddy, he want me to tell y'all, that old mank got himself killed. That's all I say.
Because when you're chosen
being
by
with
the
those
Most High,
Jews.
human connections are nice to have,
So here y'all go.
never necessary
Do
for
what
your
y'all gonna do.
success. Here's something
Know that
that's
the
going to
angels
send
watching you.
chills down your spine. The person who betrayed you isn't just dealing with consequences anymore. They're dealing with something much darker. When someone moves against heaven's chosen, they don't just lose divine protection, they become vulnerable to forces that are absolutely terrifying. Right now, this person has attracted demonic attachments
It's
that are
funny that
feeding off their guilt.
I didn't know Granny was talking about Henrietta Lacks. No alleged. When she told me a story of one of her family members' babies being experimented on, and she wasn't gonna let her daughter be experimented on like her. She was talking about Henrietta Lacks. That's my family. Research her.
Desperation. Their own family
Don't worry, I ain't
notice the
exposing.
change in their
Don't worry.
personality.
My whole
The
family
darkness
didn't inherit this gene, so y'all safe. That's why they only mess with me and not you. So don't worry. This is my story, not yours. Right?
that seems to follow them everywhere. The way rooms feel cold when they enter. They're not the same person anymore, and everyone around them can sense that something evil has taken residence in their life. But these demonic forces aren't just tormenting the main betrayer. They're spreading through the entire conspiracy network like a spiritual plague. Every person
I'm
who
only in trouble
participated in your
because
down-
I'm only in trouble because I should have never fucking did a DNA test to see that that Massa is my fucking relative, bitch.
is experiencing supernatural oppression
It's
that's
my
making
fault,
their
nigga.
lives a living nightmare.
I'm just geeky. I wanted to know I wanted to research the family members Granny told me about. But I didn't know I was gonna find out all this shit, nigga.
Everyone who conspired against you is experiencing spiritual bondage.
So all y'all who call me crazy,
cannot function
thank
properly.
you.
It's like they've been cut off from the source of
Thank
life
you.
itself. Every door they try to
Everybody
open
say I'm on
slams shut.
drugs. Thank
Every
you.
opportunity they pursue evaporates.
Because that's not
Every
my
plan
truth.
they make falls
That's your
apart
perception.
before it even begins. Their bank accounts are freezing for no apparent reason. Their business deals are collapsing at the last minute.
Don't make an excuse to not support somebody and not help somebody.
They're spiritually locked down.
Y'all worse than my baby daddy. Make an argument when I used to ask for Pampers and shit, nigga. I'ma say this because you supposed to be my bestie, babe. You do you know that our friends clown me? Do you know the mutual friends that know us and see that what you trying to show the world that you doing better than me? You know they all pick at me, nigga. We supposed to be best friends. You supposed to make sure I look good out here, my guy. We don't gotta talk for you to do that, my guy. So y'all send him that.
And the key to their freedom is
Since y'all like to
so
send him everything.
divine justice that no earthly power can reach it. But here's what's driving them absolutely insane.
Send my family this, since y'all like to call my folks and say, look what your daughter or your sister talking about. Send them this. This is my story, not theirs.
That opens for you is a reminder of what they lost when they chose to move.
They should know me better anyway. So the angels really discussed it with all of them.
Wasn't just your money or your relationships.
So don't get me started.
Something far more valuable. You possess ancient wisdom, spiritual gifts, and divine downloads.
So Auntie Judy, here we go. Her kids might be mad with me telling y'all this, but this is my story, not theirs. So Auntie Judy told me not to tell people of my gifts. She believed in them. She used to always support me and tell me that I'm just like her grandma. Because her grandma, she told me, I won't tell you. It's okay. You don't want to know that part. So I won't tell you the truth about your mom. So I'll tell you this. She said, don't tell nobody about this, okay? And she'll remind me right before my ride was coming. Remember what I told you earlier? They're going to try to study you. Don't tell them. Okay, so let's keep going.
Down through your bloodline for generations. These abilities make you a threat to people who profit from keeping others spiritually
Put me
asleep.
on a lie detector
The
test,
conspiracy
since y'all
against
say
you
I
was
lie so
designed
much.
to cut you off from your spiritual inheritance, to make you doubt your intuitive abilities, to convince you that your prophetic dreams and divine visions were just imagination.
Yeah.
They needed you disconnected from source because a fully awakened chosen one with access to their spiritual gifts is unstoppable. But their attempts to block your spiritual development only intensified your connection to the divine.
I should be a psychic attorney. How legit I be, instead of people treating me like this.
Realm. Every attack on your faith made you stronger.
The psychic detective make me that.
More powerful.
I can't help that I be knowing shit. And y'all want to get mad and say she thinks she know everything. No, half of the shit I just know that. I don't know. I ain't asking this shit. But it's okay. This the era of the truth. This the era of the healers and givers. So we gotta show us off now. So no more hiding us under the fucking bunkers.
Don't just have personal protection. They have entire lineages of deceased ancestors who are still actively guarding their bloodline from the
Granny,
spirit realm.
I love you so much.
The moment they
You are
betrayed
so
you,
beautiful,
they
babe.
didn't just anger the universe.
I love you so
they
much,
awakened
girl.
a spiritual army that has been waiting for generations to defend their chosen descendant.
I am your twin. You was right.
Your ancient forebears, warriors,
Granny used to tell me that. She used to look at me in my face, say, "Look at me, child. You sure look like me." I wonder why she say that. But yeah, you're right.
To dismantle everyone who dared to harm their precious chosen one. These ancestral spirits have powers and abilities that make earthly revenge look like
It's
child's
scary.
play.
That's what you said, Granny. It's
Right now,
scary.
your enemies are experiencing spiritual harassment from deceased family members they never even knew existed. Ancestors are visiting them in dreams, appearing in their peripheral vision, moving objects in their homes, and delivering messages that are absolutely terrifying them. But these spiritual interventions are just the beginning of what happens when an entire ancestral lineage decides someone needs to be taught a lesson about respecting heaven's chosen.
Let me just put her
Here's
on
something that's going to make you sick to your stomach. They weren't just stealing your money and sabotaging your relationships. They were systematically harvesting your spiritual energy to fuel their own lives. Every time you poured love into that person who betrayed you, every moment you spent worried about their problems, every prayer you said for their success, they were siphoning that energy and using it to manifest blessings in their own life. This is why you felt so drained around certain people, why your energy would plummet after spending time with them, why you always felt like you were giving more than you received. They were spiritual vampires feeding off your light, while simultaneously working to destroy you from within. But energy theft from a chosen one comes with devastating consequences that these people never saw coming. The spiritual energy they stole was like radioactive material in their systems. It appeared to benefit them temporarily, but it was actually poisoning them from the inside out. Now that stolen energy is turning toxic and destroying them in ways that medical science can't explain or treat. Strange things have been happening to everyone involved in the conspiracy against you,
Oh,
chosen
never
one.
mind.
And
My
these aren't
daughter in there.
coincidences or natural phenomena. These are supernatural manifestations of divine displeasure that are scaring these people so badly.
Hey,
Some of
thank you.
them
I
are
can
sleeping
relax a
with
little
lights
bit.
on, electronics malfunctioning when they try to delete evidence, cars breaking down when they attempt to flee, phones dying when they try to coordinate their stories, dreams so vivid and terrifying they wake up screaming, voices calling their names when no one is there, shadows moving in their peripheral vision that disappear when they turn to look. The spiritual oppression they're experiencing is unlike anything they've ever encountered, and it's getting stronger every day. Some of them are consulting psychics, visiting churches, even attempting exorcisms because they can sense that something powerful and angry is hunting them down. But there's no protection available for people who have moved against heaven's chosen ones. Ronrats, the following is a message from Mike, founder of the Obsidian Inner Order,
Oh,
powered
that
by
just
Astral
instantly
Atom.
uplifted me.
Look, I know you came here for your chosen one video, but I need a minute. If I don't speak this into the field now, I might never forgive myself. Some of us were born into fire, abused, exiled, haunted by truths no one around us could hold. That doesn't mean we're cursed. It means we were chosen to walk through the veil and come back with the map. Inside the Obsidian Inner Order, we gather every week, live on Zoom, face to face. And when I say real people, I mean it. A former military drone operator who now uses his mind as the remote. A millionaire CFO who walked away from everything to become a psychic in Nosa. A spiritual healer once trapped inside a satanic
Bro,
cult.
I've been
A seer,
saying this
a sage,
for the
a soul
last year
who
to
left
people that
Mormonism and found the
God
Gnosis instead.
is going
These
to
are the ones
justify
who
me
gave it all up when their calling
publicly
hit, and that's just a glimpse.
because I've
And every
been
call
so
is recorded. So when
humiliated
you're
the
alone,
last
when
10
you're
years of my
crawling through the
life.
dirt
I'm
of
talking
your own
about
awakening,
probably longer,
you can
but the
press
last
play
10
and
years
feel the
been
field again.
like
This
really
is not
brutal,
for everyone, but maybe
embarrassing.
it's for you. Can you
And it
see
wasn't
yourself
even
among
me.
us?
It wasn't
Join
even,
the
none of it was
Obsidian
my
Inner
fault.
Order.
It's
Link in the
like an
description.
Oscar. And
Thank
look
you
what I
all
just
for
got in my
supporting the
motherfucking
broadcast.
feed.
We quite literally
You
could not do
deserve an
this without
Oscar.
you.
Look, I didn't
Long
even
before
see
you
it.
consciously
You
understood
deserve an
what was
Oscar.
happening,
Like
your
it felt like
spirit
an
was
Oscar
receiving downloads about the betrayal that
fucking
was coming.
nominated
Those restless nights when
scene
you couldn't
back to
sleep.
back to
Those
back to
vivid
back,
dreams
just
about people wearing
going through
masks.
so much. And each time that I've been going through this stuff, everybody is seen to be nowhere to be fucking found. It's like it's all strategically set the fuck up like that. And it's like, how do I climb out of shit? That's what I've been saying lately. But somehow, some way, the angels move shit around for me right when things like it's gonna fuck up. And that's why I say these people see this supernatural. Cause bro, I feel so much better. I'm so sad though. It's like I don't understand how I feel right now. Like I feel so fucking protected, but then I just feel sad, and I feel like it comes from having to like just realize that people that my journey is not for me to have other people. I don't want to sound cold because like I'm fighting from turning just cold. I say that a lot, but I just don't want to say like I don't need people. Like I really don't. And God is trying to show me I never did.
Those sudden intuitive flashes that something wasn't right, the divine realm was preparing you for what these people were planning. You probably dismissed those spiritual
And
warnings
I
as
only say that
paranoia or
because I do want people. You see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sound like that. What I mean is when I say God is showing me that I don't need people, as in like I could do these obstacles on my own because I have. Didn't I just say every time things is like pulled from my ass, like a bunch of people pulling a fucking rope from my ass, and I'm the only one on the other side. It's like everybody, it's nobody behind me. It's not even a phone that I can call them on. Being sarcastic now. and it's like it feels strategically done that way, like an obstacle course for me to just fucking
thinking, but every single vision you received was accurate intelligence from the cosmic realm. Your ancestors were literally showing you the future, revealing the plots against you,
I'll try to stop
preparing your spirit for the
saying
isolation and
people
betrayal that was
in
orchestrated to break
individuals
you.
and
But
just
those
say
same
people
prophetic abilities that
and
warned
stop
you
saying
about
their
the
name and just
conspiracy
calling
are
them,
now
you
showing
know,
you something that's going to
the
absolutely amaze you.
devils, the
Detailed
devil's
visions
children.
of your enemy's complete downfall,
So they
precise
know
previews of
that
how divine
that's who
justice
they
is going to
operate for.
unfold,
Matter of fact,
and crystal
they operate like slavery. Everybody connected. That's why our ancestors that because I got ancestors that was forced to have slaves. You don't own nobody. So everybody you still it's like a modern day of it with how people use you, take advantage of you, and you don't have to be authority figure to treat somebody like they're your slave. They could just be a friend of yours, a relative of yours, and we just inherited that colonizer spirit being like that with people. Yes, look at those slave stories. You will see that those people actually worked like fucking villages for real. And then it wasn't until our own had to turn on each other. You had Africans helping these people captive people, take people and take them on boats. You had supposed to be Indians, which I call the indigenous people of the worlds, the tribes. Y'all had them enslaving people. Let's go. But see, they all in the rim, and God know your intentions. And I believe those people who were forced to do these things to people, when you forced to do things, He give you a chance. But you get that chance in your descendants. It's like a game for real. Now you got to sit there and hope that your descendants do the right thing. Oh, see, niggas don't know that.
clear images of the incredible life you're about to step into once this spiritual
I
warfare is
analyze
finished.
everything, and I believe
As this
I'm
cosmic
confident.
justice
I
unfolds
believe
around you,
that
you're stepping into a new reality
everything
where
we fucking
everyone
do
understands who
affects our
you really
ancestors.
are.
That's the
No
whole
more
goal of them guiding
questioning your
us.
intuition. No more doubting your experiences.
Cause
No
mine
more
guided me.
wondering if you're
And they leave their
overreacting or
names
being
on
paranoid.
blessings for me.
You're about
Literally.
to live in a world where
Etta,
your divine protection is
Julie,
obvious to everyone, where your favor is
Henrietta,
undeniable, where your identity is one of heaven's
Mimi's.
chosen is impossible to
I get
dispute.
girls that be
The
doing
people
my
who try
orders and give me free stuff. They name Shaniqua. Come on, let's go.
to diminish you are going to
For no
become
reason
living
to.
proof of what happens when someone crosses a
And
chosen one. Your
sometimes they
life is
also
about to
even look
become a
like my
masterclass in
ancestors with the
divine
name.
justice,
And I
cosmic
just sit there and
protection,
smile with a
and
tear
what it
falling.
means to be truly
Sometimes you
favored
gonna
by
catch
the
a tear
universe.
fall, cause I be
Everyone
like,
who
ain't this
meets
about
you
a
from
bitch?
now on will
Look at
know
this shit,
they're in the
Granny.
presence
I
of
love you,
someone
girl.
special, someone protected, someone chosen.
But it's
Welcome to
cause of
your
how I
new
move.
reality, chosen
Not
one.
one day of
The
my life
universe has
have
been
I
waiting
crossed
for you to
somebody.
step
And
into
that's
the
deep.
full
Everybody
understanding of
can't
who you
say that and
really
mean
are.
that shit.
And now that the truth has been
If
revealed,
if you if
nothing
you
will
ever
ever
give
be
me
the
a
same
spoon,
again.
I'ma eat it. But I never
Okay,
cross
so I
nobody. I
wasn't gonna
always
call
been
it
so
lunch
kind to
before I was
people.
fine.
To
But
my
deep down,
daddy, my
something felt
mama,
off.
and
At
my
the end
daddy
of the
used to do me so wrong for his girlfriends. And I used to still be patient with him. Before he passed, he told me, I don't deserve you, boo. You still forgive your old boy, huh? Yeah, see, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people
They
don't know I
planted
really didn't never have
landmines in
daddy
your
issues. He was
peace,
always in my
expecting you
life. He
to
just always
explode,
used to
but you
abandon me
learned to walk like smoke,
because of people.
quiet and untouchable. And now they're choking on the silence you left behind. You didn't scream. You didn't beg.
You know,
You didn't.
I complain to my friends and stuff about my daddy a lot because I was like a spoiled girl. My mama and my daddy spoiled me. Look, they both called me boo. That'll tell you everything. Like they spoiled me so bad. But I used to vent to my friends that fuck you, I don't got my daddy, blah blah blah. And I cursed my kids because I had my daddy more than my kids got theirs. That hit deep.
Give them
That
the
hit real
meltdown they
fucking deep.
wanted so badly. No, you studied their chaos, walked through their
So when you
traps,
call my
and
daddy a bum
exited
ass
with
nigga and
the
say you bitched out
elegance
and
of a
all that,
ghost.
he was there more for
Untouchable,
me, baby.
unreadable, unforgettable. They thought they were triggering a war.
That bum,
What they got
that
was a
bum you talk
silent.
about when he ain't have money, cause he always never had. But let's just tell the motherfucking truth. He just never had no money for me, but he had money. He just never had none for me somehow. But he always wanted boo to spoil him. That's just he want me to. He it's okay for me to say it. He wanted me to spoil him I feel that's why I know I got it from both sides. My mama and my daddy are fucking autistic, and my mama gonna deny it to the T, but she is, because yeah, she is. My daddy was, so they just smart. That's why they was able to just confuse you, but now it make sense. They wasn't crazy after all, huh? And to y'all who may say my mom crazy, now it makes sense to you, huh? She ain't really crazy. She just on the fucking spectrum, and she been trying her best her whole life to blend in with people and make people think she's fucking normal, like them, and she's not. And same with my daddy, he was just worse with that shit. But my old boy, when I used to have issues. One thing he always did, if he ain't asking me for money, he giving me stuff from people. Like he was the dad that, yeah, he probably didn't give mama money and stuff. That he apologized about it before he passed away, but because he realized he was on some other shit. But one thing I say he did all the time. He had people calling me. He was that dad that had his girlfriends that he was with. Hey, you get this for boo. Get this to boo. And then some called some lady. Hey, you Bo Peep daughter. He told me to get you this. So I didn't think about it like back then that still counted. Like I used to like really troll his ass. I didn't know. I didn't understand it because all my other friends and people were picking at me. And my cousins and stuff was picking at me. My brothers was picking at me. About my daddy. But I didn't. I was letting that get to me until I really realized, like, hold up, Bo Peep be looking the fuck out. I used to have his other kids and his cousins and stuff calling me saying, "Hey, Bo Peep said, this and that." I had one cousin pay for my, what I'm saying, get me a whole fucking deposit for my apartment, like out of nowhere, without me asking her, type shit. Cause Bo Peep done called her and told her to do it. I done had somebody call me from Jacksonville and say, "Hey, your daddy got this apartment over here for you." And I was so like literally in a hotel at the time. So when y'all saw me being homeless online, like I was being stubborn because I had my old boy. He was giving me his apartment and was having some lady give me the keys because he was in Florida. I mean, he was in Miami and kept boo, you ain't gonna get the place. You just gotta pay this. And I was like, you know what I was saying? He just want me to pay his motherfucking rent so he can come in now. But I should have that's my daddy. I didn't look at it like that. But see, the thing is, I'm bringing it up because you got some people in the world don't do nothing for their kids, bro. And I ain't talking about my baby daddy at this point because he do some stuff. So I'm not including him with this. But I see it every fucking day. You got some people that don't do shit. When I say they don't do nothing for their kids, for their family, they cousins, they like it don't stop with just your kids too. For the FYI to people, it don't supposed to stop for just you and your kids. God didn't create us like that. When they said village, our ancestors left hints down. And they depended on the next generation to continue it because they know that that's the only way we'll remember. And they left a lot of shit down, and we just can't live like the old folks. No, fuck that shit you just said. And now you done fucked yourself up because now you don't know how to love no more.
Genius, disappearing
Genius.
mid-sentence like smoke through cracks they never knew existed. No curtain call, no final scene, just gone. They didn't see the months you spent smiling through clenched teeth. They didn't notice you shrinking piece by
I
piece
try to
just to
just
keep
say
their
everything I
storms
just said.
calm. They didn't think you had the nerve, the plan, or the power to leave. But guess what? You did. And you executed it like an artist. You didn't just walk away. You vanished with precision, not out of fear, but out of clarity. You didn't react. You orchestrated, like a final scene in a film so well written, it leaves the whole theater in shock. You flipped the script while they were still rehearsing their lines. That's not weakness. That's genius. That's legendary. And before we go deeper, let's get this message where it belongs, in the hands of every soul who needs to hear it. If this is hitting your heart, tap like, press subscribe, and help spread this message. You're not just watching this for you, you're holding a match someone else needs to light their path.
Thank
So
you.
do your part. Spread the signal. It's not just content, it's survival. Now, let's talk about who you really are. You're not just the chosen one because the universe gave you some lucky favor. No,
Mm.
you became the chosen one because you chose yourself when no one else did.
Mm.
You were the light in their shadows, the peace in their storm. And they mistook your patience for permission. You pray for your kids, but when was the last time someone prayed for you? Because moms need prayers too. That's where we come in. We're missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of.
I like that.
That was their biggest
I love
mistake.
his father.
They thought they broke you, but they just sharpened you. Every insult became a blueprint. Every lie became fuel. Every fake hug taught you how to hug yourself tighter. And when the day came, you didn't blow up. You leveled up. You played your role so well, they never saw it coming. You smiled through betrayal. You laughed with
See,
liars.
let me clean this up for my mama, and it's so how y'all can understand how bad my bones is, right? Because it skips all my sisters and brothers. They probably got a little arthritis, but they don't got my problems, and she don't got my problems either. And she was born with salmonella. See, let me tell you why she's self-conscious, and this she might be feel better after I say this, because she don't know I researched for her. So thank you, thank me later. So look, she think because she heard this story, people said this to you because they was protecting you. So this is why she said it. But this is what they said that made you embarrassed of your condition, that makes you very rare, that you inherited it from your great grandmother. You don't know, you didn't know that though, but I'm gonna tell you now. So it wasn't that granny was drinking. I heard the story. It wasn't that she was drinking and fell and you hit your head. They was playing, they was clowning you, they was mocking you, they was making fun of you. That's not how you got that condition. Cyromonalia is a condition that so many other, I want you to research it. They also call it mermaid syndrome. Where there's thousands of other babies that were born like you, with their legs fused together like a mermaid, and they had to do recreate reconstructive surgery on them too. Some of them had more surgeries than you, so you was actually fortunate. Your mom took care of you really well, because some of those other kids had way more surgeries than you, babe. So I know that you heard about it. I know you think about it, but that's not the end of you. You're actually a remarkable finding, scientifically. It's just, you see, you're not documented, and that's the reason why you going through what you're going through. So y'all, speaking for my mama, because I the way these people like really turn me and my family against each other, to where I don't really talk to none of my family, not even my mom right now. And me and my mom like best friends, but because she's probably tired of me going through stuff so much, and she don't realize that it's not just me, and it's not just you, not the only one, because she's going through a lot of financial shit too, because they do the same thing to her. But I blame the program for being so covert. They tactics that they make people just think that it's other than what it really is, and it can affect their friends. It can affect that. It probably have. I've researched so much, and I see that a lot of my mom friends were affected. They family members were affected, and it's like to a point where people should be wanting me to speak up. People should want me to expose it, because it will justify them. We're gonna let the angels go.
You sat at tables where you knew you weren't safe, all while planning your exit like a silent assassin. And when it was time to go, you didn't look back. You didn't give them closure. You gave them consequences. You knew they'd try to spin the story, paint you as the villain,
So
twist your silence
I'm gonna
into
say this because
guilt.
I
But
know that they messing with us heavy. They probably may do something to one of us, but uh, I promise you that whatever they do is already being recorded, and you won't go in vain. I won't go in vain. That's why I'm talking. I don't really care, because I see what route it is, and I rather people believe my story before I go, and just me be a mystery when I go. So yeah. So Tiffany Yorks was the last person documented to have Monelli, but my mom really the last one. They know it too, because they tried to take her when she was a baby to study her. Okay, so and her great, like I said, My grandma told me that when she was crying, telling me the story, that she said she never drunk when she was pregnant. She had stopped drinking when she. Matter of fact, see, people tried to make it seem that's probably what made her stop, because people blamed her. She cried about it. People blamed her for having her baby like that, and she said that her mom told had the same condition, had the same condition. The only thing is like the doctors didn't do that surgery for her. That was the house, the they family member did it for her, and she didn't. They did that person didn't live long. I remember her telling me they died young from the condition, because they didn't have the technology they have with your mom. That's what she said. They didn't have all the technology they have with your mom. So she gonna be fine. She gonna live long. That's what she kept saying about her daughter. She gonna live long. I did everything I could. When they came and said they gonna take her so somewhere that she can get treatment better, I told them I can take care of my own daughter. She just need love, and she get that here. Everybody spoil her. That's what she said, and it's true, cause she was spoiled. Everybody waited on my mom hands and knees for her. Like, they probably didn't give her money, but they was there for her. We always had an uncle, a auntie, or somebody to babysit us for us. My mama whole life. They were begging her too at some point. We had this auntie that this week, that auntie that, everybody helped my mama. So what I'm saying is, like, they don't understand that the way you help my mama, you should have helped me too. My whole family too. The way my grandma made a village, because she made y'all do that. Y'all wasn't gonna do it on y'all own. She made you do it because she knew that my mama needed the assistance so that she could live a good life and live long. Because she wasn't like she had to walk with a walker when she was going through surgeries. She had to walk with braces on her legs so that she could walk. And people don't even know that this lady didn't know she couldn't even walk, and she's walking out here every day. These people been studying her since a little baby. So if they think it's just me, cause I talk too much, I'm crazy, I'm all this, no, babe, y'all was gonna let them just do y'all like that? Okay. But Henrietta Lacks family, they made sure they went and got hers. They wasn't gonna just let people study her like that and take her out.
Them. The truth is too big for small
That was
minds,
my
and
village.
real
We lost
power,
that. We
it
lost those.
doesn't
We
need
lost
to
that after Granny
explain
left.
itself. It moves, and the world watches. Psychologists say people don't truly change unless they're faced with enough pain or enough clarity. You
My
had
grandma got a
both,
lawsuit off what they
and
did to my
instead of
granddaddy.
letting
What
it
y'all gonna do?
destroy you, you
My
turned it
grandma
into a
spoke up for her
performance
husband.
so
She spoke up for her
flawless,
mama.
even your enemies
She
had to
spoke up for her
applaud your
child.
secret.
What y'all doing?
That's why the title fits. You didn't
She
just
risked
leave,
being
you
called. Hold on,
deserve
let's
an
say it like this,
Oscar
Granny. I
for
got you. She was risked being called crazy as fuck when she was taking up for her. When she saw shit wasn't right. Like, hell nah, they trying to do that. Hell nah, they trying to do that. Hell nah, they trying to do that. I used to hear her talk like that. That wasn't no fucking Alzheimer's. That wasn't no dementia. She could tell me about, like, it's no way. Some days this the dementia grandma y'all said I had, right? This is what she used to say. Cause she was smart, so, and she had a characteristic like mine. So what you thought was dementia, she was telling you to get the fuck out of her face. So it says a lot about you. Cause she didn't do that to me when I saw her up until the day she passed away. And we had story conversations all day. She was alert, cooking. She answered questions. That's dementia. You can't do that. You gonna tell they not gonna even know who you are. She knew who the fuck I was. And said I looked like her mom. Instead, see, look, if it was dementia, she would have called me her mom. She said I looked like her and her mom. Yeah. Here we go. She said I looked like her husband's niece and daughter. She knew who I was. She knew who you was when you was peeking in her window the day she was throwing up blood. Come on.
Oh, you did it. They don't know.
And said, come on out of here in the motherfucking laundry room. Or I forgot to say that. Before Granny passed, because I think she passed that night, but she was throwing up all day. And the nurse person came there. But after, I think it was because I ain't go home yet. I stayed with Granny. Because my family always made sure Granny had one of the grandkids or several grandkids at the house to make sure she didn't have to lift a finger. Yes. And I used to always take the route. Yeah. I always took that job because I used to like to talk to her, my old soul. But who was that when she was saying, come on out of there now? When she was washing her clothes and I was sitting there eating that boiled fish head and eating the eyes with the grits and the okra. Who was that in her back when she said, "Come on out of there now"? Who was that? Was it the same person that was in her window as we tried to go to sleep because I slept with her? I didn't sleep in the other room. I slept next to Granny. Who was that? It wasn't it wasn't none of my family. It was somebody I didn't know. I saw their eyes. They saw me, I saw them. So what's up with that? That they do this shit to me too. But so y'all say I'm crazy too. That's funny. But shout out to everybody that think this shit far fetched that I'm talking about. This shit can happen to you. Let that shit sink in.
Who you are anymore. And that's the most powerful part. They lost access to the version
Y'all
of
see
you
the
they
comments.
took for
Y'all see the
granted.
type of comments that be on my videos. These ain't regular people. These troll people that want to discredit me so that you won't help me and you just go along with the punch. Y'all friend, your sister, your cousin, your daughter, your lover is out here asking you to help them because people are trying to take her out. And everybody, like,
You cut them off.
don't worry about it, man.
Wait,
Don't worry
and
about it.
now you're
I said it
floating
enough.
lighter, higher, and quieter than they ever imagined possible. No closure, no contact, no crumbs, just elevation. And if you're still in that silent planning stage, listen closely. You don't need to explode. You don't need to perform. You just need to walk like smoke, quiet, invisible, and impossible to stop. Because when you disappear with a plan, you don't just leave them behind. You leave them haunted. So if this message is hitting you like a memory you've tried to forget, good. That means it's yours. You didn't just survive what they did. You outsmarted it, outgrew it, and outplayed every trap they set. And now, you're here. Not by chance, but by precision.
And what's so crazy is they use this lame ass tactic and come on my comments. Y'all just go look at my comments. You will see on every channel too, every fucking app, and these people that I completely don't know. You don't see my folks saying this. You don't see the people that know me saying this. You seeing complete strangers like saying strategic things like you are slow, you're retarded, nobody believes you, stop smoking weed, like because they see that I'm trying to get help. It's like as if that's a campaign to make sure she don't get help. But see, niggas too close-minded to see that. But it make you just look at it and be like, look, I knew she just hustling, and then you're not realizing you could possibly help me out.
Number
But you choose
77
to
in the comments if you know your exit wasn't luck. It was a
hey,
masterclass. Stay locked
my
in,
life
because what's coming
is a
next
whole
will feel like a
example.
mirror to your past.
When y'all go look up these people and stuff, let's go ahead. I got you. I'm gonna go back to the video. So let's just read what I've been researching. I'm a research girl and shit like that. I read a lot because I don't understand stuff. So I like to understand stuff. So damn, I think it's on that phone. What was her name? Okay, I just go to my notes then because I got some stuff in there. But I forgot the lady name. So let's just do her. Because I call my grandbaby like this is so crazy, y'all. So I never understood why I called Granny Fanny, my grandbaby Fanny. Like when I first took one look at her, it's like I was forced to say Fanny, Fanny, and we all call her Fanny. So an ancestor, Fanny Kimple, so many of them, right? Frances Ann Kimball. Let's talk about her. Frances Ann Kimball. This by slavery or migration ancestor. It wasn't a natural one, but she is one. So Frances Ann Kimball, later Butler. She was born November 27 in 1809, and she passed January 15, 1893. She was a British actress from the theater family in the early and mid 19th century. She was a well-known and popular writer whose published works included plays, poetry, even volumes of memoirs, travels, and writing, and she worked about theater. She lived for many years in the United States, primarily in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Lenox, Massachusetts. So Kimball's lasting historical importance derives from the private journal she kept during her time in the sea islands on her husband's plantation, where she wrote a journal documenting the conditions of slaves on the plantation and her growing, what is it, abolitionist feelings. She was also an early adopter of spoken word performances combined with music. So I was watching Tubi and I had already researched this a while ago. So when the movie was up next, I jumped up and played it. And y'all gotta go check the movie out. I forget what it's called. I think it was called it was a movie right before her though that I was researching and found a similar ancestor too. It's just like AI is funny, but I guess I like it. But it made me feel like, damn, all of these spirits, right, that I'm attached to, is really encouraging me to speak up because Fanny spoke up. What's the other lady? And everybody singled them out. The lady who the story of the book of Negroes with the young girl, if I'm saying it right, because there's so many one I just saw back to back. So this young lady literally survived slavery, fell in love with the African boy that stole her for the colonists. He passed away. He couldn't live with the grief of knowing that he took her from her mom and dad, and he got karma in the end. If you look at the movie, and this wonderful lady lived to tell her story for her whole village, her whole community that she was born in. Was it the Baja tribe or I can't remember, but she had done traveled everywhere to London. She even went to what was it? Damn, uh I want to say they went to Canada. I want to say they ended up in Canada somehow because they was fighting with the British War, and something about the British War promised them to have land and stuff there. Then they ended up in Sierra Leone, and it was just I think that's the other movie I saw. Cause with this young lady, yeah, no, that's the Book of Negroes. And then that other movie that I was watching about the lady who she just couldn't take seeing how those slaves was being treated, and uh she forced her husband to eventually become a part of her little movement to free people and to understand that you shouldn't own people. And it's something she said that stood out. Like why do you feel like owning someone or something like that? But the abuse that those people was getting, it bothered her that she lived out her whole life. She got so much karma from the communities. People was treating her so wrong, and she didn't care about it.
Print for your rise. If you're really the chosen one, you'll feel it in your bones. Let's get into it. Number one, they were so busy playing you. They didn't notice they were walking into a psychological guillotine. You gave them all the rope, then watched them tie their own noose with it while smiling at you like they won. They thought they had you cornered, trapped, owned. They believed you were too emotional, too loyal, too dependent to ever leave. And while they were dancing in circles, drunk on their fake power, you were setting the stage like a quiet storm dressing in silk, waiting to tear the sky apart. You didn't just walk away, you built a psychological guillotine and let them stroll into it blindfolded. Because that's what real power looks like. It's not about explosions, it's about precision. It's about letting them underestimate you until it's too damn late. They didn't know the person they thought they broke was busy building a map. Every silent night, You were calculating every fake apology. You logged it like a scientist. Every little shift in their mask. You caught it, while they thought you were too naive to see the cracks. But you saw everything, and said nothing, because the quiet ones are the most dangerous. They ask now, how could you just leave like that? But let's be real, you didn't just leave. You waited, you observed, you learned the game better than the ones who invented it. You had to be calm while on fire. You had to act okay while your heart was breaking in private. And you played it so well, they never saw the exit plan taped behind your back. You weren't being weak, you were being tactical. That dinner you sat through while they lied to your face. That call you answered when you already knew the truth. That smile you gave while they bragged about controlling you. That wasn't submission. That was you letting them dig deeper so your silence could be louder later. People think silence is passive, but not in your case. Your silence was a loaded weapon, and when the time came, you didn't miss. You were never begging. You were never blind. You were building. You were setting emotional booby traps so subtle, so precise, that they walked into their own destruction, thinking they were still in charge. You let them talk. You let them gloat. You let them think you were still emotionally accessible, while your soul was already halfway into a new dimension. That's what makes your exit poetic. It wasn't just walking away, it was psychological chess. They played checkers. You studied war. They'll never tell the full truth about you, because doing so would mean admitting they got outplayed. You weren't the fool, you were the blueprint. And now they're sitting in the ruins, blaming the storm, without realizing it was their own actions that triggered the earthquake. And let's address the question that creeps in late at night. But what if I was too cold, too harsh, too quiet? Stop. That's the leftover residue of manipulation talking. You were not too cold. You were finally clear. You were not too harsh. You were finally honest. You were not too quiet. You were finally focused. And when clarity enters, confusion has no place to hide. You let the truth expose them without needing to speak it. That's why they're mad. That's why they're shook. You didn't slam the door. You left it cracked, so they'd hear the silence echo every time they reach for you and find nothing. You let them talk themselves into circles. You didn't interrupt. You didn't correct. You just watched the mask slip. And when it hit the floor, you were already gone. They'll swear you changed, that you flipped, that you became someone else. But you didn't. You returned to yourself. You became someone they could no longer manipulate. And that's why they can't stand you now, because the puppet cut the strings and became the puppeteer. Even when you were crying behind closed doors, you were planning. Even when you felt broken, you were gathering your pieces like weapons. They thought you were folding, but baby, you were forging. And when the final act arrived, you didn't just exit, you erased your presence like a ghost with unfinished business finally resolved. No warning, no last fight, no final goodbye. You let them holding conversations with your absence, because some exits don't need closure, they are the closure. And now they're scrambling, digging through old texts, replaying old moments, hoping for another scene, another chance, another crack in the wall you've rebuilt. But the show is over. And the star. She took her Oscar and left. So if you're reading this and you're still in that quiet phase, still playing your part, still gathering data, still wearing the mask they gave you, let this be your sign. You're not being fake. You're being strategic. You're not stuck. You're just in the planning phase. And when the moment comes, move like smoke, leave like thunder, cut like ice, and let them drown in the echo of everything they thought they controlled. You didn't just walk away, you designed their downfall with the grace of an artist and the mind of an assassin. And that's what makes you a chosen one. Not because you were lucky, but because you were lethal in silence. And baby, silence never misses. Number 2. They thought you were escaping, but you were delivering the final blow without saying a word. You didn't run away. You walked out like a surgeon, steady hands, cold precision, and a silence so sharp it sliced the lie wide open. Let's get this straight. What you did wasn't escape. It was execution. And not the emotional kind they tried to provoke. This wasn't you breaking down. This wasn't some impulsive, messy meltdown they could twist into a sob story where they get to play the victim. No, this was you pulling the pin and calmly walking away from the bomb they built, letting it blow in their hands after you were long gone. They didn't realize it at first. You left without drama, no screaming, no scenes, no sobbing messages, just a shift, a chill in the air, the sudden absence of your energy, like the moment the music cuts in a horror movie right before the monster appears. And that silence, that's what scared them. You knew what would come next. The spin, the lies, the subtle jabs, the whispered stories designed to make you look crazy, unstable, ungrateful. You knew they'd try to rewrite the ending, so you crafted your exit like a slow-burning truth bomb. Undeniable, irreversible, untwistable. This wasn't about being the loudest voice. This was about being the last honest one, because when all the noise dies down, all that's left is reality. And your reality. It was ugly and raw and real, and you chose not to waste another breath trying to prove it to people who were never listening. You just moved different, talked less, observed more, and while they were still performing, you were already packing your soul into a bag marked free. Try Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. They didn't notice at first. They thought they still had access to you, still had control, still had time. But you were already gone, emotionally evacuated, while your body played the role just long enough to finish the mission. You didn't scream.
Oh, I just realized, y'all. I guess I'll try it tomorrow. I'll try it.
You waited. You didn't call them out. You let them perform.
Like
because truth doesn't need a defense. Dysfunction
I
is
just
on
got a
full
message
display.
from Cora, but
They exposed themselves. You just left the lights on long enough for the world to see it. People ask, but don't you want to clear your name? Don't you care what they're saying? Let them talk. Let them twist, because the truth has a funny way of surviving the spin. Give it time, and it will rise from the ashes like smoke from the wreckage they created, pointing straight back to them. You understood this. Revenge isn't fire. Revenge is clarity served on a cold, silent plate. And when the fog clears and the performance ends, all that's left is the aftermath. And that's where your real victory sits, untouched, unbothered, undeniable. You didn't burn bridges. You walked off them like royalty while they lit the matches and pretended to cry about the smoke. You didn't ruin their name. You let their behavior speak, and it spoke volumes, louder than any call-out, sharper than any clapback, and real ones, they heard it. They saw the shift. They felt the tension that didn't come from you, but from the void you left behind. See, they wanted the explosion. They wanted the chaos, because in chaos they could spin the story, control the narrative, hide behind the confusion, But you starved them of conflict, starved them of attention, starved them of the opportunity to paint you as unstable. And that was brutal, because without your reaction, they had nothing. No content, no drama, just their own guilt echoing back at them in the silence. But don't you want to confront them? Confront what? They already know what they did. They know why you left. They're just hoping to drag you back in so they can rewrite the ending and still look innocent. But you refuse to give them another scene. The movie's over. Roll credits. And now they're haunted, not by what you said, but by what you didn't say, by the things left unsaid, by the story they can't control. Because when you leave without explaining, without defending, without warning, they're left alone with the truth. And the truth, it doesn't blink. Your exit wasn't emotional, it was forensic. You didn't run, you documented. You didn't just survive, you prepared the case file, knowing one day the receipts would speak louder than your voice ever could. And now, people who once called you too much are slowly realizing you were too real. People who once sided with the show are now asking questions they never thought to ask, and every lie they told is starting to sweat under the spotlight you never even turned on. The spotlight called karma. That's why they're still checking your
Yes,
page,
spider.
still stalking your energy, still sending accidental messages, because they don't miss you. They miss the control. They miss the version of you that tolerated what should have never been tolerated. But that version, gone, deceased, buried in the ashes of their own manipulation. And now they're left trying to explain why someone so unstable was smart enough to leave without a trace, and strong enough not to
I'm gonna get off here in a little bit.
come back. So if you're
So
reading
let
this,
me read my tweets at the same time. Let me read this quote. So, is there a correlation between having autism and being more sub sub susceptible to false accusations? Oh, yes. The person, Martin Johnson, said, for example, I have a friend who is also autistic. She is successful, has money, but she's also has meltdowns easily and rubs people the wrong way. I heard people wrongly accuse her of things, even petty stealing or lying behind their back, of course. Even though she and many of us are so honest as it gets, and you will have a hard time stealing or lying with those traits. My last boss also falsely accused me about a project because he didn't understand my circle, circular cautious communication style. Sometimes we are easily targets because we are often disliked, gullible, don't really show emotions, and have, or if do, have some challenges with communication, which may come across as hiding something or being a dishonest person. People constantly think, say, I hate going to stores. People constantly think I'm shoplifting. Once a customer at the place I was working at thought I was stealing her money instead of putting it in the cash register. Wow. I had to get the union to intervene on my behalf. Once on the internet, I saw a filler a filer for police about autistic people, and it said that they are often impatient and would think nothing of walking out of a store without paying for something because they don't want to wait in line. How ridiculous! That is crazy. Oh wow, wow. Okay. Martin Johnson said cops are conformists, dickholes. Sorry, y'all. That's what he said. Who hate anyone that's different. You are either a cop, a victim, or a criminal. The first one consists of cis white, neurotypical men and their enablers. The second includes conformist white men and women, and the last is everyone else, including autistics. I look at complex problems and find direct solutions sometimes in ways no one has thought of uh is it Occam's razors Occam's razor theory. The issues I've run into, I may have still said it wrong if you're wrong. The issues I've run Occam Occam's razor theory. The issues I've run into is I've been accused of cheating because my superiors never looked at the problem in the manner I did. And in one particular case, he was jealous because I showed him up. And I embarrassed him in front of the group on a 30-minute tirade as I saw red and had a total loss of control um after what is it? Wait. After I apologized and asked if I was fired, he shook his head and said no. No one of my no one of my prouder moments. Not one of my prouder moments. I wrestled with disappointment, anger, rage, unacceptable behavior, and when the dust settles, beating myself up that I lack the self-control, cut the line once hooked. Vicious cycle I attribute to it. Oh, my bad. Vicious cycle. I attribute it to the constant teasing I got from my father specifically. He found it amusing how angry I would get in situation and knowingly add fuel to the fire with comments that he knew would ignite me. I think he lacked the ability to handle his own temper, and he was just like me. See, I say that too. My dad. Wow. So how could he teach when he felt himself? For that, I found some compassion for him, but his pride ego prevented him from getting me professional help early on, and it snowballed. I think it was his version of a song, A Boy Named Sue, which oddly enough was my mother's name. His pride innovated, inevitably, uh, inev- 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 inevitably led to his early demise at 59. Too early for anyone, but he just quit the game altogether. Like the Russians nesting dolls, I've learned to look for the lessons inside of the lessons and found some solace that while he didn't do the best he could, as he stated so many times, maybe in his mind he thought he was. There's definitely a correlation, and it is often deliberate. The part of some neurotypicals is to use autistic people as scapegoats. Oftentimes, neurotypicals gaslight and manipulate us to situations that they then use against us. Wow, look, oftentimes neurotypicals gaslight and manipulate us into situations that they then use against us. The fact is that we can be rather gullible, and even being aware that we can be gullible doesn't give us much heads up on when we are being manipulated. From my own experience, I know that I have been conceited into doing something the normal way, only to find that I was being tricked into something. Very sad. It's also been the case that I've been tricked into being a fool, and no amount of logical explanation rectifies the situation. Is one of the main reasons I keep a small circle, don't go along with anything that others tell me to keep a secret about. They can't understand we're not like them, therefore we are too good to be true. One boss even said that to me. Also, narcissists don't like us because they can't read us, and we don't buy into hierarchy. Hierarchy. We are anxious with poor eye contact, which makes us look like we are definitely lying, although we're telling the truth. True, I've been accused of sleeping with my subordinates during my break time. Wow, this was when I had to work the entire day and had a 3-4 hour break in between shifts. The reason was because I was spending the break time in the hostel instead of going home. No naps possible since my stepdad would drag me out the neighbors. Oh, cause my neighbors was nosy as hell. I was sleeping on the bench in the living room and not in their room. Still get told that if any officials decided to raid the place, I would still be accused of sleeping with them, even if everyone was fully dressed and not in the same area. They talking about at work. I was ordered to move the bench to the storage room and sleep there. It was not hot and stuffy. Also, the doorknob and lock was broken, so I was vulnerable to anything and to people who had my bad intentions, because that they was trying, they I get it, they were trying to set him up, telling him to sleep in the room, put it in there, can't sleep out there. So like I get that shit a lot. Okay, that was cute. Masking all these traits for a long time. How do they know? Okay, I guess I read that one. I'm not reading that other one. I'm going on my notifications on Quora. I'll probably read one more after this, and then I'm gonna finish that video and go inside. If someone with SD has been masking their autistic traits their whole life or for a long time, how do they know who? I think I read this one. The thing is, let me see. The thing is, that's my problem. I know who to. Oh, let me see. I think I read this one. He said, okay, so how do they know the real them? I get this question sound crazy, but I get it. And this person said, the thing is, that's my problem. I know who the real me is, but I don't know the real anyone else unless they're fucking autistic. Neurotypicals don't present the real them to us. They force compliance with social order that harms anyone who doesn't grasp it instinctively, even other neurotypicals. This is my entire life experience. However, neurotypicals will also then try to gaslight me that it's all just made up, that the rules are just what is it, arbitrary and subjective, arbitrary, arbitrary or subjective. Like I'm told certain rules, arbitrary or subjective. Like I'm told a certain rule, and then a year later I'm yelled at. I'm yelled at for following the rules. How in the hell would I not think almost everyone has a hidden agenda? No one is constant and no one is honest, even inconsistency. Nobody. Regression, they get over by regression of symptoms to you mean. Yes, exhaustion, increased sensory. Can autistic people suffer from regression? Cora sending me all this stuff in my feeds. I mean, my notification, y'all. Um, can autistic people suffer from? Can autistic people suffer from regression of symptoms as they get older? They put yes. Autistic burnout often caused by masking traits. Other symptoms of burnout include exhaustion, increased sensory sensitivity, skills are lighter, more meltdowns and shutdowns a day, depression, pathological demand avoidance, where everyday demands give severe anxiety, masking abilities are lost or increased, poor executive functioning, poor executive functioning. Regression in adults with autism include loss of social skills, sensory sensitivities that you didn't used to have, loss of fine motor skills, difficulty planning and regulating emotions, loss of hygienic skills, other loss um may be less severe or more severe as they age. It depends on support. It depends on support. Maybe a lot of people with autism need supported living more than the general public. We need some degree of help with various at home and out of the community activities of daily living, such as a patient advocate at dental visits. Maybe some of them may need assistance at the grocery stores, other places, and assistance to a degree at home. It is easier to get a support dog or cat than support services from a support person for a support person. Also, there is a gauntlet of hoops and barriers to her support services started. And not at all of the hoops and barriers are fair or honest. Some of them are extremely dishonest for the person on the spectrum. I was recently given a canned denial of services letter on the canned basis. I was recently given a candid denial of services letter on the candid basis that I did not have a developmental disability based on the information provided, which from did not ask for particulars of. A legal team declined to help me also unless I called them in less than 30 days next time I apply. So also many dogs get better dental care and dental oh a canine dental insurance for their dental care and more patient advocacy as well than people who need such services. I'm late. I'm late diagnosed and think my symptoms of ASD have increased tremendously with age. I'm simply relying on wiring more while masking skills are diminishing. Masking increases cognitive, um, cognitive, cognitive, cognitive. Okay, masking increased cognitive load. It takes energy away from the ability to focus on other things. As we age, our processing speed and the volume of input we can handle at one time typically diminishes. But masking still takes up at least the same amount of processing power. So relative to our total relative to our total cognitive capacity. It becomes more and more of a burden. As a result of situations where we have to choose between either masking effectively or accomplishing whatever else we are trying to do effectively become more numerous and more frequent. I like that. In autistic, withdraw because they don't feel safe. They withdraw because they don't feel supported enough. I volunteer to many camps and support autistic kids and adults feeling like there's someone in their corner so they can feel that they have someone in their corner. Wait, feeling like there's someone in their corner was one of the best things these people hey, I'm on the wrong. Hey, I volunteer to many camps and support autistic kids and adults feeling like there's someone in their corner was one of the best things could ever have happened because the tendency is there for them to be misunderstood quite easily. And Yasmin said, I am one of them, 44, diagnosed at 43. I no longer desire to be social. I withdraw no because I burnt out already. I do not get basic support or understanding for my disorder or struggles. I can do some things for myself, but I have a way of keeping organized so my life can seem easier, but I cannot do so without others. I mean, I can be easy, but I cannot do so with others who are disorganized or don't understand my disorder. My energy is drained much faster. Even while working, I miss days for weeks. I have no desire to be around people because they go out of their way to misunderstand common logic just so that they can be angry and refuse to do any research or even listen for 2 minutes, especially when they insist in spending time together because it's supposed to be fun, right? Don't have fun when I know that if any of my behavior slips, I am imperfect. I will be yelled at, spoken to like I am an idiot, as I have no life experience, didn't contribute to society of over 1/3 of a century, both professionally and as an artist. The same people who say they support people with disability, invisible disabilities, and autistic neurodivergent people are the same. They bully and insult us when any small amount of characteristic comes out that we have had to mask for decades to keep us safe. For those who do not do, wait, for those of us who do and did and who can. I mean, masking little things like laughing at a slip up of the tongue that anyone else would laugh at, or moving to the beat of a song, or rocking, swaying slowly something substyle. What is it? Sub substyle to help. Substyle to help with high levels of stress and anxiety, not to mention holding in reactions to torturous sensory environments for the entire time is draining. Sorry to rant, but it's really a sad thing when a person in your life can't be bothered when even trying to understand anything about a disorder or condition that affects every aspect of your life. But they want you to be around them, support them, and entertain them so they have fun and laugh because you are a good person to them. They don't even care though. then you can't even get a disability for your disability. The lack of support is mind bombing. Whoa, bitch. Wow. What was your name? Go back. Yasmin. I like you, girl. She said, let's just go. Sorry to rant, but it's really a sad thing when a person in your life can't be bothered with even trying to understand anything about your disorder or condition that affects every aspect of your life. But they want to be around them. They want you to be around them, support them, and entertain them so that they can have fun and laugh because you are a good person. And they don't even care though. Then you can't even get a disability check for the disability that you have. The lack of support is mind numbing. That's what she said. Mind numbing, not mind blowing. Mind numbing. Wow. This is why being able to put my autistic child into a program made available. I try the states are different. Okay, let me finish this into my way. I like this one. 50 gibbets. It said some people with autism have special, unusual needs when going anywhere. They need someone who is an advocate, friend, or an ally to be with them to provide advocacy, support, and assistance. This is for people with severe enough autism that police might be called after they stand, but some are different. Wait, this is also for persons with autism who are not getting their dental care needs met or other medical needs. Even in the church, yeah, because maybe if I have support going into the dentist, I would go and people say I chew rocks, but thank you, boo. I like that. Even in the church, which you might suppose would always be friendly, or say that it's come from depression, no, bitches, because I'm scared of the needle. Even in the church, which you might suppose will always be friendly, I have been excluded at times and threatened at times. When I was 24, for example, I was invited to a camp at a church I went to. Backdrop and background. I had been hospitalized for over some amount of days from age 13 to 17 and a half. And I did not know why I had been pushed out of the school system at 17, or that so many dozens of my grades were fraudulently falsified based on non-academic therapies and outright lies on my school transcript that I took in past classes that I never took or passed. I had missed out on years of everything that people do in high school when I was still 17, and I was pushed out from being in school and all the extracurricular activities, outings of sports, activities, all prom, dances, events, socializing of any kind, potential friends, even marginal friends that I could have made. I was robbed of many things that most kids and their families take for granted in my school district, and all so fresh out of the years of impatient, you could say all nationwide. So fresh out of the years. Okay, so fresh out of the years of impatient hospitalization, foster care, without any real education because of all the fraud and counterfeit that was done to me. Zero instruction. Okay, so I was still, I'm gonna skip that. I was 17. I was a 17-year-old kid who was squarely within the school eligibility age 3 to 21 or 22 plus with disability, and I clung to high school Sunday school class even through the age of 25. But at 24, there was a camp I was invited to. I had been on the outings and rafting that year. I was rafting that year that I was 24. No one at that local church knew that I had autism. Neither did I. I was mixed diagnosed with childhood schizophrenia. In fact, I did not know about my diagnosis and the misdiagnosis most of the time I was hospitalized. I recall the nurse, Miss Hahn, on the walk around the hospital asking me, "Don't you know your diagnosis?" To which I said no. She asked, "You don't know you have a diagnosis of schizophrenia?" I said no. I did not know. The church gave me no consideration on that. Neither did they consider my possibility or why I might need some consideration. In fact, the head pastor was the kind of guy by his own words as follows when he spoke of young men who had not married, saying, quote, "What's wrong with them?" That uh, that encapsulated his type of attitude towards me when he excluded me from all the youth activities. Anyway, that church that I went to knew nothing of my hospitalization stays being excluded from my high school because they were together. It was like it was. I guess I get what he's saying. It was a his high school was like a he went to a school with a church. I know of schools like that. I can't think of what it's called right now though. But if they had, they likely would have held it against me rather than considering me in need of sympathy and grace. I was very sensitive about being excluded from anything, even though I had difficulty participating and even going in and out of the buildings. That was hard. That had a form. They had a form for the camp that they initially invited me to on, which they asked my age. I wrote it down. Until then, they assumed I was younger, crazy, and did not care to make they didn't care or make issue of my age, but went totally on my youth looks I had. But then when I told them I'm 24, they totally excluded me. But put me in there to begin with. Whoa, okay. Though a nice and uh sympathetic bus driver tried to conjure me months later to join a youth outing, who heard me say what they did and invited me anyway personally against the pastors, who declined to possible trouble and further hurt my okay, he didn't got me lost, but I declined due to possible trouble and further hurt. So oh, should I join and try to I read it wrong. Okay, so let's say that I declined due to my possible trouble and further hurt. Should I join and try to be with other youth and then pushed away again? The pastor off the pastor after it was over spoke to all the congregation and strangers and whoever showed up in writing excluding me and supporting his staff who also excluded me, saying to the congregation something very close to this. I want you all to come to this camp next time. Anyone here who wants to come to it to have a wonderful time. I hope anyone here who wants to come will join the camp. And which he continued in saying that they excluded me in front of everyone. Oh, he looked at me and adamantly said, "You are not a youth. You can't be a youth here. You can't." Oh, okay. But he's saying that they was making fun of him, in other words, because of his age. I mean, because of his disability, when literally the program says youth until 22, and that's how old he was. And because of his disability, he was able to go there to 24, but they kept trying to say he didn't have autism and that it was schizophrenia so that he couldn't go. I get it. What was in the senior head pastor's letter to me supporting excluding me as one who is not a youth? What was the reason? Hmm. It's like bullying him in a way because, you know, so that made him not want to go all together and not have a social life at that point. So the admin replied to him and said, exactly, this is why I try to tell friends of mine they need to learn about the condition disorder if they want to spend time with me. But instead of being supportive, they took of it as a challenge and began arguing and speaking down to me about not forcing people to learn when that wasn't what I was trying to say at all. It's it's for the same reason you mentioned. If something happened, including police presence, we need someone to who understand us and what's going on to help speak on our behalf because this can go left. There are times when I cannot speak or shut down or have meltdowns or scream. I am loud. Wow, when I'm in tunnel vision to when I feel like I'm in danger. Some people don't believe this is real, so it makes life 100% more difficult when you have no proper support and people around you don't understand anything about the disorder and don't even try. This is why I try to advocate. I
Second
like
guessing
that.
your silence, wondering if you should have said more,
All right.
screamed louder, fought harder. Don't. You
Thank you.
didn't
I
escape.
feel good about that.
You executed, and you did it with elegance, precision, and power. You didn't need
She said
revenge.
that's why if a situation happens in the police is called that person on the spectrum needs somebody around because it can go left, because she's saying that they may get that just that situation can make, there's nothing about the police and nobody at this point. We only got to say that. What she's saying is like that situation can cause them to melt down. That police officer statement, whatever he's saying, so that you can take it whatever way you want to take it. It can go left for that autistic person. You need somebody them when stuff happens. Like these people come over here and do this to me. That I need somebody to advocate for me. Like I can't help it. Okay, and like she says, people rather make it complicated, like it's too much of a challenge for them.
You became the evidence. You became the closure. You became the chapter they'll never understand, but never forget. And that's the true power of your exit. It wasn't rage. It wasn't weakness. It was the calmest war they never saw coming, and the loudest truth they still can't silence. Number 3, you knew they were watching, so you made sure your exit burned into their memory like a scene they'll replay forever. When they expected your breakdown, you gave them a broadcast, not with words, with silence that screamed louder than any revenge plot they've ever imagined. They thought they were watching you collapse. Instead, they got front row seats to your rise. You knew their eyes were on you, lurking, scrolling, checking your page in the shadows like ghosts in their own guilt. And you didn't flinch, you didn't rant, you didn't plead, you didn't drag them in the mud like they expected. You turned your exit into a performance so cold, so composed, it burned more than any outburst ever could. You weren't just walking away, you were broadcasting growth in real time. But here's the genius. You didn't show everything. You gave them just enough. A glow up here, a new boundary there, a smile they hadn't seen since before they drained you. You gave them fragments and let their paranoia stitch the rest together. That was the trap.
For an active glow, one Clinique serum with 3 powerful actives. Lactic acid to help gently exfoliate, hyaluronic acid to help deeply hydrate, vitamin C to help brighten the look of skin. Plus, it's safe for sensitive skin. Activate your glow. At Domino's, now you can carry out a one-topping pizza with any of our 5 crust types, and you can order any way you want to, online or by phone. So
you weren't loud, but you were visible. You weren't posting revenge. You were living it. Your silence made more noise than their lies ever could. They tried to paint you as the unstable one, the emotional wreck, the one who'd come crawling back. But you kept your chin up and your energy clean. And with every move you made, every peace-filled post, every step forward, the audience started to question the script they'd been fed. That wasn't luck. That was strategy. That was legacy. That was you turning your pain into proof. And look at history. The real chosen ones always got watched. Malcolm X was surveilled for years by those who feared the power of his clarity.
That's
Nina
why
Simone was labeled angry when she...
That's why I kept getting out of these movies today on Tubi. I had it so loud. It had me. I had the whites on the side of me crying, smiling, clapping loud at the end of the movies and stuff. And I could see myself in a lot of these people.
Was just awake. Princess Diana broke free from the most watched prison in the world, a royal system, and turned every camera lens into a mirror that exposed the truth. You're not just walking away, you're walking into the light, and they can't bear to see you shine, because your shine confirms their shadow. People ask, should I show them I'm happy? You don't have to show them anything, just be. The ones watching will feel what's real. Your peace doesn't need subtitles. Your silence doesn't need a mic. What hurt them wasn't your absence, it was your evolution. They expected chaos. You gave them composure. They expected tears. You gave them transformation, and now they're watching every day, not because they care, but because they lost. and your growth is the scoreboard. Keep broadcasting, not for revenge, but for revelation. Number 4, you let them dance in delusion while you were writing the final scene they'd never recover from. They thought they were still playing the game, but you were already holding the scoreboard, and they were losing in silence. They mistook your silence for weakness, your stillness for confusion, your loyalty for dependency. But what they didn't know was this. You were playing a deeper game, and baby, you were already 10 moves ahead. They thought they still had you, hooked, hurt, helpless. They didn't realize that the version of you they were mocking had already begun dying and being reborn in the middle of their chaos. While they were busy playing God in a broken empire, you were quietly becoming the storm they wouldn't survive. You didn't fight back because you were scared. You held your fire because you understood the power of restraint. Emotional impulsiveness is what they thrive on. It gives them control. So instead, you played possum, still, calm, watching. And every time they pushed your buttons, you pressed record in your mind. Every gaslight, every "you're too sensitive", every "I was just joking", logged, noted, filed. You weren't shrinking, you were scanning the whole battlefield. While they were laughing at the version of you who used to chase clarity, you were sealing their fate with every "okay", every fake smile, every time you said nothing was everything. That's what they'll never understand. You let them think they were still in control because exposing your hand too early would have ruined the whole show. So you sat in the front row, letting them perform their lies with confidence, while inside you were sharpening your exit plan like a sword they'd never see coming. You gave them nothing to twist, no breakdown, no rage, no aha moment they could screenshot and share. You gave them the most terrifying gift of all, pure surgical silence. And the silence wasn't empty, it was loaded. You were archiving, you were healing, you were upgrading your self-worth like software running in the background, invisible but unstoppable. Look at history. Harriet Tubman pretended to be powerless while planning escape routes for dozens. Nelson Mandela spent decades in prison, mastering internal strength so unbreakable it would one day help dismantle apartheid. They didn't scream, they watched, they waited, and when the time came, they moved, and the world shifted. That's what you did. You didn't explode. You evolved, and when you finally left, you didn't just cut them off. You erased the access. No warning, no last words, just a clean break that echoed louder than any fight could have. They didn't even get the chance to play the victim properly because you gave them no scene to distort, just a locked door and a silence they can't decode. Now they're haunted, not just because you're gone, but because you were never who they thought you were to begin with. You were the quiet genius, hiding your brilliance behind calm eyes. You were the mirror, and they broke themselves
Y'all, she was doing
trying to
so
break
good.
you.
As soon as
And
she
if
saw
you're
me,
still in that
'cause
stage,
I went to walk in there quick and forgot. She was so quiet. And then she just, oh God. It's like, little girl, go to sleep. She, ha ha ha. She think it's so funny.
still
Not funny.
watching, still building your exit quietly, hear this. You are not fake. You are focused. You are not stuck. You are loading. And when the final moment comes, don't flinch, don't warn, don't explain. Just walk. Let the truth speak in your absence, and let them drown in the silence they never prepared for. Because while they were clapping for their own illusion of power, you were writing the ending that makes them the villain, and you the legend. And legends don't beg. They vanish with dignity, with receipts, and with every ounce of peace they were never worthy of. Number 5.
Here's why you choose my firm if you're hurt in an accident. I used to work defending insurance companies. And
5. You let them judge the cover while you were writing the ending that left them speechless. They mistook your softness for surrender, not realizing.
So I just found out why I feel like near death. My girlie just came on just now. So y'all, I have the worst periods ever in the world. When I was little, I never cramped. I used to tell people when they used to say they have cramps, I was like, I never had a cramp. When I had my first child, that's when I got my first cramp because I remember feeling it after having her, and I kept getting it after that. It get worse and worse and worse, and right now, like it feels like I'm having a baby, and I need an epidural. Like it's at 7 centimeters, and it hurts so bad. It's be twisting and turning. So right now, that's why I feel like this right now, cause and actually the walking is kind of like probably if I just don't walk too long, the walking is kind of good for the cramps. I would say like it's not good for my bones, but it's really good for the cramps because it's not cramping right now, and that's probably
You
why I didn't know my period was about to come on.
using every one of their assumptions as camouflage while building your exit like a secret weapon. They thought they had you figured out from the start. They labeled you emotional, weak, too soft, too lost in your feelings to ever stand up and walk away. But what they didn't realize was that you wanted them to think that because their overconfidence, that was your cover, that was your cloak, that was your greatest advantage. While they were strutting around, convinced they held all the power, you were quietly slipping every single emotional lock off the door, one by one, behind their back. They thought they were still playing puppet master, but the strings had long since snapped, and all they were holding was air. They say, never let them see you sweat. But you did one better. You let them think you couldn't even hold a knife while you were sharpening it behind your back. You weaponized every assumption
Oh
they
shit! I
threw at
forgot
you.
the
You
iPhone
made
charger.
your innocence a strategy, your silence a smokescreen, your softness a setup. You wore your confusion like a costume. You let the tears fall, not as surrender, but as a tactic. Because you knew nothing makes a narcissist drop their guard faster than feeling like they've already won. And that's what made it poetic. They were blindfolded by their own ego. Their own assumptions built a wall between them and the truth. And you used every brick they handed you to build the tunnel that led to your freedom. You never had to fight for the upper hand. They handed it to you while mocking your power. You let them monologue, let them gloat, let them play hero in a story where they were always the villain. Because you weren't arguing anymore. You were archiving every lie, every contradiction, every fake apology. You stored it all like evidence in a courtroom that hadn't opened yet. They thought you were silent because you had nothing to say. But no, you were silent because you knew everything they were about to reveal. And you were giving them the space to do it, comfortably, carelessly, until the mask fell all on its own. And when you left, you didn't throw a fit. You didn't give them closure. You gave them consequences. It wasn't just your exit that shook them. It was how wrong they were about you. They were so busy underestimating your strength, they didn't see the storm coming. And when it hit, they couldn't even explain it. Because how do you explain being outplayed by someone you swore was too weak to think for themselves? Let's talk facts. History remembers the underestimated. People thought Joan of Arc was just a girl with a vision until she led armies. They laughed at Rosa Parks for being just tired, and she sparked a movement. Malala was silenced with a bullet and came back louder than ever. Real power doesn't need to flex. it waits, it watches, and when it strikes, it rewrites history. So if you're sitting in silence now, letting them assume you're still broken, still lost, still trying to figure it all out, good. Let them think it. Because every second they underestimate you is a second they're not preparing for your rise. And when you move, you won't have to scream. The shift in your energy will do the talking. You didn't walk away by accident. You escaped like an architect who designed the blueprint beneath their feet while they were laughing at your pain. You were never the victim. You were the strategist, the observer, the one who let them misread you on purpose. And now they're left replaying the moment they lost you. Still trying to figure out how someone they called too emotional ended up being the one who outmaneuvered everything. You didn't fight their assumptions, you used them as camouflage, and when the time came, you disappeared like a ghost who knew exactly where every door led. Because you built the damn house, and they never saw it coming. Number 6, you let their ego blind them while you slipped out the back door holding every piece of your power. You didn't escape a narcissist. You let them stay obsessed with their own reflection while you vanished from the mirror completely. The secret to outsmarting a narcissist isn't fighting them. It's feeding the illusion, just enough for them to lose sight of you. And you played that role like a master. You didn't just leave them. You let their own ego build the distraction while you planned the escape. You realized something early. Trying to confront their ego was like trying to argue with a fire. All it does is burn hotter the more oxygen you give it. So instead, you cut off the oxygen, quietly, strategically. While they were too busy performing their greatness for the crowd, you were slipping out of the role of audience, bit by bit, applause by fake applause. You didn't challenge their delusions. You used them. You let them believe they were the smartest, the strongest, the center of your emotional universe. All while you were withdrawing your spirit, thought by thought. They were addicted to admiration, and you were the dealer. They never questioned you because they were too high on their own reflection to notice that your mirror had gone dark. They thought you were clapping for them, when in reality you were just keeping the show running long enough to gather the intel. They didn't suspect you because they didn't see you. They only saw the version of you they created in their head, the one who needed them, praised them, chased them. That version, you let it die quietly while you watched them unravel in slow motion. You weren't passive. You were present in the sharpest, most terrifying way, while they performed their grand illusions of perfection to family, to friends, to strangers online. You were the one person in the room who knew the truth behind the curtain. And instead of yelling, you watched. And instead of warning, you waited. You watched them gaslight and deny, blame and project. You watched them rewrite your emotions, minimize your pain, and twist every confrontation into confusion. And you took notes, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You became a walking archive of truth. And they didn't suspect a thing because their narcissism was the blindfold they willingly wore. They couldn't see your detachment because they were never truly connected to begin with. They weren't in love with you. They were in love with your admiration. And when your admiration dried up, when the sparkle in your eye dimmed, they assumed it was just another mood swing. Because surely you couldn't be leaving. You needed them too much, or so they thought. And that's what broke them. When you finally left, not with rage, not with drama, not with begging, but with cold, calculated distance, they were stunned. Not because they realized what they lost, but because their best audience just stopped clapping. The echo of that silence It haunts them because now they're left looking in the mirror with no one to perform for. And the truth is, without your energy, their illusion crumbles. They can't project without a surface. And you became glass, transparent, unreachable, gone. Let's not forget, narcissists don't miss you. They miss control. They miss the spotlight. They miss the emotional supply. But what you did was a masterclass. You starved their ego while feeding their fantasy. And when the fantasy could no longer be maintained, you walked. You were never weak. You were never stupid. You were strategic. You played your part until the script collapsed on its own. They thought they were the puppeteer, but by the end, you were standing backstage, holding the scissors, and with one clean, final snip, you exited the stage. No applause, no explanation, just silence and peace. And if anyone's reading this, still stuck in that performance, still clapping to keep the peace, just know you don't have to yell to be powerful. You don't have to fight to be free. All you have to do is watch and wait and walk, because their narcissism isn't your prison. It's your camouflage. And the moment you stop reacting, stop feeding, stop playing your role, that's the moment the curtain falls, and they'll never even know who cut the lights. Number 7, you didn't burn the bridge. You just stopped holding it up and watched them light the match with their own lies. They handed you the matchbook, expecting you to set the fire. But you just walked away and let their ego do what it always does, destroy everything it touches. You were never the villain in this story. You were the structure, the foundation, the quiet force keeping it all from crumbling. And when you left, you didn't slam doors, toss grenades, or start shouting matches. You did something far more powerful. You stepped back with your dignity, with your silence, and let gravity and truth do the rest. They wanted you to lose it, to snap, to make it ugly, so they could say, see, look how crazy they are. But that's not your style. You don't deal in cheap drama. You deal in consequences. And the best consequence you delivered, your absence. No more explaining, no more covering for their mess, no more being the emotional janitor cleaning up after their chaos. They lit the fire. You just stopped putting it out. Every time you stayed calm when they twisted your words, they thought you were weak. Every time you walked away from baited arguments, they thought they'd won. What they didn't realize was that you were letting their own patterns bury them deeper. They destroyed the bridge, thinking they'd still have access. But bridges don't burn from one end. And when you stepped off, the whole thing collapsed under the weight of their own lies. That's what made it devastating. It wasn't that you screamed or exposed them. It was that you didn't. You left with so much peace, it looked like power. Because it was. People noticed. They always do when someone exits quietly but clean. No bitterness, no explosions, just truth left hanging in the air like smoke that won't clear. And suddenly, those same people who once questioned you began to wonder, wait, why did they leave? Because now, without your presence keeping the illusion stable, the truth began leaking through the cracks. The stories didn't line up anymore. The mask slipped. The charm started looking like control. The jokes started sounding like jabs. You weren't holding their secrets anymore, and that silence, it started speaking. You were never interested in revenge, because revenge implies they still hold space in your world. But you weren't looking back. You weren't throwing stones. You were packing peace and letting karma do the talking. And that's what scorched them, not your rage, but your grace. The kind that doesn't need an audience, The kind that doesn't need applause. The kind that walks away fully healed and leaves them standing in the wreckage of their own creation, alone. Let's be clear, you didn't walk away because you were... Pluto TV is exploding with free movies. You'll feel the free when one man, one woman, and a group of friends join together to save the world. You gotta be kidding. Summer of Cinema, totally free on Pluto TV. Week. You walked away because you were done. Done being the emotional support system for someone who fed off your light. Done translating your pain to people fluent in gaslighting. Done explaining yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. You held the matchbook, yes, but you never needed to use it. They lit it themselves with every lie, every projection, every manipulation. You just got smart enough to step back before the whole thing went up in flames. And now they're coughing in the smoke, wondering why everyone's finally starting to see through the mask. Because without your energy to keep it shiny, that mask started melting. People ask, don't you want to warn others about them? You don't have to. The truth always reveals itself, and when it does, your silence becomes a map for others to follow. You weren't the destroyer, you were the witness, and when the dust settles and the smoke clears, the story will remain exactly as it should. You didn't set the fire, you just had the wisdom to get out before it spread, and now the world finally sees you weren't the problem. You were the proof. Number 8. You let them think you were broken while you built the exit they never saw coming. You wore your scars like camouflage, let them mistake your silence for surrender, and while they celebrated your defeat, you were already gone. They looked at you and saw a shell. Tired eyes, quiet voice, slumped shoulders. To them, that was the end.
Wow.
But what they didn't realize was that was your beginning. You weren't broken. You were calculating. You weren't lost. You were in position. And the role you played, that wasn't weakness. That was warfare. You let them believe the story they needed to feel powerful.
I really like that.
Let them see a version of you they could label as helpless, drained, nothing without them. And you leaned in, not because it was true, but because it gave you cover. The quieter you became, the louder their arrogance grew. And while they were inflating their ego, you were slipping through the cracks they didn't even know existed. That's the danger of underestimating someone who knows how to act. You stopped pushing, you stopped resisting, you stopped explaining, and they took that as surrender. But you weren't giving up. You were conserving power because you knew if you made a scene, they'd weaponize it. If you screamed, they'd twist it. If you ran, they'd chase. So you vanished instead. You let the lights dim. You let the illusion set in. You stopped being a threat, so they stopped watching closely. And that's when you moved. You didn't need a dramatic climax. You didn't owe them a firework finale. You knew what they'd do with that. They'd call it crazy, call you unstable, use it to repaint themselves as the victim. So instead, you delivered the one thing they could never manipulate, a silent exit, so smooth, it looked accidental. They still can't pinpoint when you left. They scroll your profile, reread old texts, check timestamps like detectives chasing a ghost. But that's the point. You didn't walk out of their life. You dissolved out of their control. Let's be real. They never saw you. They only saw what they could get from you. So when you stopped giving, they stopped paying attention. And while their attention was turned inward to their next performance, their next manipulation, their next audience, you were already emotionally unreachable. That's why they're still spinning. Because the weak version of you they ridiculed, that was the version plotting their irrelevance. You healed in the shadows, rebuilt yourself in silence, and by the time you were done, you were untouchable. Not just physically absent, but spiritually unavailable. They tried to bait you back, tried to push the same buttons, but you'd already disconnected the wiring. They no longer had access to your soul, and it's eating them alive. Think about it. They thought they broke you, but all they did was break the illusion that you needed them. And that illusion, that was their lifeline. You didn't take revenge. You took yourself, your light, your energy, your validation. And without that, they're nothing but noise in an empty room. They're still talking to the version of you that never existed, the fragile version they invented so they could feel big. But that version, you buried it. And from that grave, you built the foundation of your new life. No dramatic exits, no warnings, no last words, just the soft click of a door closing in the background, and the haunting silence of someone who walked away and never looked back. That's what makes it brutal. Not that you left, but how you left. Without rage, without guilt, without giving them a single thread to pull on. So if you're still in that role right now, still pretending to be weak, still playing along while plotting your next move, don't let shame creep in. That's not weakness. That's strategy. You're not stuck. You're just silent. For now. And when it's time to go, go so quietly they never hear the door. Only the echo of their own arrogance bouncing off the walls.
Thank you.
Number 9. You didn't say goodbye. You graduated from a lesson that was never meant to last forever.
Did you know you could be entitled to a 5 or 6 figure payout if you were in a traffic collision within the...
You didn't leave. You leveled up. And while they were busy planning your ending, you were packing your cap and gown in silence. They thought your exit was emotional. They thought it was about them. But they were only a side character in a chapter you had long outgrown. Because this wasn't a collapse. This was a ceremony. You didn't storm out of their dysfunction. You rose from it, and what looked like distance was actually destiny unfolding in perfect, divine timing. Let them talk. Let them spin it. Let them pretend you were too sensitive, too difficult, too much. Because they needed to minimize your evolution in order to justify their stagnation. But you didn't just walk out of that cycle, you transcended it. And now they're stuck rereading a script that no longer includes your name. You didn't abandon them. You stopped abandoning yourself. You didn't ghost them. You graduated past the frequency of their drama because you had stayed long enough to collect the lessons, every red flag, every gaslight, every moment where you sacrificed your voice just to keep the peace. You studied all of it until the test became clear. Could you leave without needing to be understood? Could you outgrow their dysfunction without needing them to validate your pain? And you did. You passed with flying colors, not because you shouted louder, but because you finally learned to listen to yourself. See, they expected you to stay stuck, stay small, stay silent. They never imagined you'd step out of that emotional prison without chains clinking behind you, because while they were busy being the lesson, you became the graduate. Not in rage, not in chaos, not with a middle finger or a meltdown, but with grace, clarity, power. You didn't just leave the room, you outgrew the entire building. And now, you walk like someone who remembers every moment they bent to survive and refuses to bend ever again. They don't get it, and they won't, because they were too busy scripting your downfall to realize you were writing your own beginning. They expected a scene, you gave them silence. They expected tears, you gave them transformation. They expected revenge, you gave them distance so loud it echoes in their ego. Let's be clear, this wasn't your downfall. This was your ascension, your emotional diploma, your moment of sacred evolution, because you realized the closure you were waiting for. It was never coming from them. It came the moment you stopped trying to be heard in a space designed to silence you. And the power of that moment, it changed you forever. So now they ask themselves, what happened to you? And the answer is simple. You healed, you found your peace and made it permanent. You closed the chapter, not with fire, but with finality. And the most haunting thing of all, you never looked back. You don't need to defend it. You don't need to post a paragraph. You don't need a closing argument. Because your life, your glow, your peace, your refusal to engage is the loudest truth of all. You were never meant to stay in that room. You were meant to pass through it, to witness the dysfunction, to learn from the betrayal, to honor the pain, and then walk out of it reborn. This wasn't goodbye. This was graduation. And what did you take with you? Not the trauma, not the bitterness, but the strength, the clarity, the knowing that you'll never again lower your vibration to meet someone in the chaos they refuse to leave. You are unshakable now, not because nothing hurts, but because you know who you are when it does. You are undeniable now, not because you crave approval, but because you no longer need it. You are unavailable to dysfunction now, not because you're cold, but because your boundaries are finally non-negotiable. So if you're still in the process, still questioning, still second-guessing if you should stay just a little longer, let this be your confirmation. The lesson is over. The door is open.
Thank you, baby.
And your next level is waiting. You don't need a breakdown to leave. You don't need an audience. You don't need them to understand. You just need to decide that your evolution is more important than their comfort. And once you make that decision, you don't walk, you rise. Chosen one, your exit wasn't a goodbye. It was a graduation. And the diploma is written in peace, purpose, and a life they'll never again have access to. And so, let this be the reminder they never wanted you to hear. You didn't just survive what they did, you evolved beyond it. Your silence was power, your exit was strategy, and your growth is the revenge they never saw coming. You didn't leave broken, you left reborn. If this message lit something inside you, like, subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments to claim your strength. And
Hey, Dirty Girl is in the. Let me do this one more time. This is the first video. Who is this? It's
listen up, chosen one.
It's a Obsidian. What she say? It's always better to be hated for being real than loved for being fake. I saw that on the comments too. So first, this from Obsidian. I'm gonna like this already. They say the slander was too weak.
Because your truth is bulletproof.
It's proven fact. She was a real one.
Their group chats, scheming in their secret meetings, coordinating their little campaigns of character assassination. The universe was laughing at their audacity.
Now, this is getting juicy.
They brought pea shooters to a nuclear war. They thought they could dim a star that heaven itself lit on fire. Every word they spoke against you became a prophecy of their own downfall. Every curse they tried to place on your life became a boomerang with their name on it. Proven facts. You're the real one they could never be. You weren't the one being tested. They were. Anyone who heard those rumors about you faced a choice. The individuals who witnessed the attacks on your character had a decision to make. Every single soul in your orbit was being presented with a spiritual examination, and most of them didn't even realize it. You're walking through your life, being your genuine self, showing up with integrity, treating people with kindness and respect. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, there's this invisible sorting happening. People are choosing sides based on whether they'll believe lies or seek truth, whether they'll follow the crowd or stand for what's right, whether they'll protect the innocent or join the mob. The part that's going to make your heart race. Anyone who chose to believe those lies about you failed their test. Those who decided to spread gossip instead of defending truth revealed their true character. The ones who joined the attack instead of standing with righteousness disqualified themselves from your divine destiny. You thought you were losing people. In reality, people were losing themselves. The ones who stayed, who questioned the narrative, who defended you even when it wasn't popular, they passed.
God, it's so good.
Taste our family commitment to high quality, real, natural cheese.
It's sarcastic when he uses people to tell you things
They proved they could recognize authentic goodness even when it was under attack. They demonstrated they valued truth over convenience, loyalty over popularity. Remember those specific lies they told about your heart, about your motivations, about your character. Remember how they painted you as selfish when you're actually generous, manipulative when you're actually transparent, fake when you're actually the most real person in the room. What's happening right now is absolutely beautiful. Each lie they spoke is returning to them like a boomerang with their name on it.
Use my
The
line.
person who called you untrustworthy, everyone's starting to see they can't be trusted. The one who said you were manipulative, people are recognizing their manipulative patterns. The one who claimed you were fake, their own authenticity is being questioned by everyone around them. It's like the universe heard their false accusations and said, "Oh really? Let me show you what those qualities actually look like," and started revealing those exact flaws in the accusers themselves. Think about the people who actually know you, who've spent real time in your presence. When someone tries to tell them something negative about you, they look at that person like they're speaking a foreign language. They think, this doesn't match the person I know at all. In that moment of disconnect, they start to see the gossiper for who they really are. Someone threatened by your light, where it gets even more incredible. And this is going to make you understand why you felt so protected through all of this. Right now, there are people conducting their own private investigations about you, not because they're suspicious, but because they're curious. The disconnect between what they're hearing and what they're witnessing is too obvious to ignore. They're watching your actions, observing your character, studying how you treat others when you think no one's looking. What they're discovering, they're finding out that you are exactly who you've always claimed to be. Some of these people are saying to themselves, I was told this person was problematic, but everything I see shows the complete opposite. Someone was lying to me. Others are thinking, if this person is as bad as they say, why do I feel so peaceful around them? Still others are realizing, I've never seen them do anything that matches what I was told about them. In that moment of recognition, they're not just discovering your truth, they're discovering the true nature of the people who were spreading lies about you. They're seeing the manipulators, the jealous ones, the threatened ones who couldn't handle your authenticity. Something even more powerful has been protecting you this entire time, something that's about to blow your mind. You were never in real danger, not for a single moment. You know how I know this is absolutely true. Look at your life right now. Look at how you're still moving forward despite everything they threw at you. Look at how opportunities are still opening up for you. Look at how the right people are still being drawn to your energy, even while the wrong people are being repelled. That's not luck and that's not coincidence. That's supernatural intervention, protecting someone who has a purpose bigger than their understanding could ever contain.
The first
The poison they tried to put in people's minds about you turned into medicine that healed your discernment. The isolation they tried to create around you became sacred space for your spiritual growth. The attacks on your character became testimonies to your resilience. Speaking
Like a
of
homeless
purpose,
man in the
what I'm
tent
about to
waking up
reveal
to
to you next will explain why
$100,000.
you've been such a target in the first place. The truth they don't want you to understand. You terrify them. Not because you're aggressive or
Somebody
harmful,
done dropped
but
it.
because you represent everything they wish they could be but aren't willing to work to become. Your authenticity
I give
exposes
y'all
their
permission. Y'all
masks.
can make a
Your
movie about
genuine
everything I
spirit
be saying
highlights
because
their
it's facts.
performative nature.
Down to
Your
finding
ability
money
to
on the
love
ground.
without
My
agenda
kids could vouch that.
reveals
Y'all
their
could interview
manipulative
them. They'll tell
motives.
you
Your inner
several
peace
times we walking
showcases
in
their inner
50s and
chaos.
100s flying
Your
on the floor
loyalty
and we
makes their
running like
betrayal
crazy
tendencies
people
obvious.
picking up
Your
money.
ability
They'll
to
tell
cut
you.
off toxic people demonstrates their inability to maintain healthy boundaries. They look at you and see someone who has figured
Right
out
when
how to
shit
live
go
with
down, people take
integrity in
everything
a
and I'm
world
being
full of
clowned at. Like,
compromise.
oh my
They see
God,
someone
are you
who attracts
serious?
genuine connections
Come on, babe.
while
It's
they're
because of how I
stuck with
move even when
surface
people
level
do shit to me.
relationships built on mutual benefit. They
That's the
see
benefit
someone
I
who's
get for
comfortable
doing
in
that for
their own
myself, though.
skin
That's why it's
while they're
consistent.
constantly
I don't do it for
performing
other
for
people. I do
approval.
it for
Your
myself.
very
Shit.
existence is a mirror, and they don't like what they see reflected back.
Shit, I ain't finna,
What's
nobody
really
ain't gonna
driving you
tell
to
me they like you can't come tell me a sad story about something you going through. And if I could help you with that shit, I'm gonna help you with that. I moved through my whole adolescent years. Fuck adulthood. It done got different. It done increased in my adulthood. We're gonna talk about when I was a little ass girl. When these old men was trying to take advantage of me and stuff. Women too. So we can't just say, oh, she's probably bisexual because somebody. No, no, no. Women was taking advantage of me too when I was little. Look, I moved through my whole life still being kind to people, even when that was happening. All that type of stuff was happening to me. People, motherfuckers, picking at me, saying I'm slow and dumb. Like I ain't shit. This ain't happened overnight. Everybody always called me slow and dumb until my real actual friends who sit down and listen to me come up with solutions and stuff like, girl, you are fucking smart as fuck. So, but other people, you don't let people see that because you be, you know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, sometimes I don't be understanding. That's why on that core of that post, the lady said we be needing advocacy. You know what I'm saying? We be needing a person to vouch to cut in real quick, working as a caregiver, I guess. Say, oh no, I think you kind of aggravating her. Back up a little bit.
Desperation, and this is the part that's going to make you smile with divine satisfaction. Remember all those specific areas of your life
She don't
they tried
understand
to
what you're
curse with
saying.
their
Back up a little
words.
bit, babe.
Your
Hold on, hold on, hold on,
relationships,
hold on,
your
hold on. Let me
career, your
explain it to her.
reputation,
Cause
your
yeah,
financial
we
future.
don't want to mess up her
What's
mood.
happening
She's
is
had a good day
absolutely
today.
miraculous.
I
Those
shook my
exact
dreads
same
just now.
areas are becoming your greatest testimonies. It's like the universe heard their negativity and said, oh, you want to talk about their love life? Let me connect them with someone who sees their true value. You want to criticize their career? Let me open doors they never
Come
even
on, baby.
dreamed of. You want to attack their character? Let me put them in positions where their integrity shines brighter than ever.
Yes.
This isn't happening by accident. This is strategic divine favor responding to their
Like, let's
attacks.
give an
Words
example
they
of my way of living. The guy in Walmart bought my stuff and dropped the water right there. But because look, shit happens. You know how many times because I dropped stuff, y'all. This how I got fired at one of my jobs in the past. I'm not gonna blame them. That was now that I look at it back then, I was mad about it. But when I look back on that situation, I'd be like, damn, that was a popular restaurant. It was important people coming in, and that was a fucking liability. Me dropping the shit. See, I was too angry to understand that back then, but I see that shit now. Like I dropped stuff, so I dropped the lady food right there. Her husband was coming. He caught me. He saw me do it. You could tell he was kind of more concerned in me than the thing. He said, "You okay? You seem a little nervous." And I said, "Nah, I'm sorry. I really like I caught it." So none of the stuff messed up, but let me document. I sat right there. He didn't even have to complain. She didn't have to complain. I sat right there, documented to them like, oh, I dropped the bag a little bit. It was kind of leaky anyway. It wasn't even really my fault. They bagged that motherfucker thin as fuck with all that shit. It was a thin bag with a bunch of shit. But because I'm flimsy, let's not even put it on the worker. I'm flimsy. I fucking dropped that bitch. All the stuff fell directly in my hand. It was like he called it some little smart sarcastic shit. He called it like babe. What's the guy name? Babe Ruth. He said I got it like because it didn't fall, but I still reported it. He got a new after talking to them, I'm not gonna get a company up talking to them. They even gave them a free meal because I reported it like that. So shit like that happened. So right after that, I'm out of my car now because that just had happened. That's why I used that example. Right after that, this person dropped they thing. And I didn't call because my baby saw it. Oh man, they didn't mean to do it was wet outside. They dropped the water, took their time, went in their car, got bags. They didn't have to do that. They went and got some grocery bags, put my waters that fell on the floor inside there, and placed them there neat. So I called it a win. Like it's water bottles. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Rinse them off, and I just saw them drop it. Some people would have complained about it. Some people would have got that person a bad rating. Some people know I gave them actually a good rating for fucking effort.
Spoke against you became seeds of blessing. Areas they tried to curse became launching pads for your breakthrough. Limitations they tried to place on you became the very thing God used to
And then that
catapult
can
you
make the
forward.
company
The
lose money
timing is
like that.
going
You
to be so
complaining for
obvious
nothing. It's
that it
nothing.
was
It's not even
orchestrated
damage.
from above that even your enemies will have to acknowledge the supernatural favor on your
But
life.
see, people
Wait
see that
until you see what's
I do
happening with
that.
the people around you. There's a wave of validation
Important
building
people
right
see that
now
I
that's
move like
about to
that with
crash
every
over
fucking
your
thing
life
though,
in the
not
most
just
beautiful way.
orders with life
People who were
period. And
silent when
most
you
people
were
will be
being
trying to
attacked
sue
are
me for a
finding their
refrigerator.
voices
Sorry,
to
I can't
speak
get over
up in
that
your
shit. I hope she
defense.
throw it out and think
One
about
thing
it.
that I'll
See,
tell
look, the
anybody
angels.
that has an
I hope
autism
she think
pending
about it and be
personal
like,
injury
nah, I ain't gonna
claim,
mess
it's
with that
important to
girl.
be an advocate for
She can keep that little
People who
refrigerator.
were confused by the rumors are seeing the
She
truth
did
with
give me
crystal
40 for it.
clarity. People who were sitting on the fence are firmly planting themselves on
She
your
got look
side.
like she got a
It's
lot
not
going
going to
on.
be quiet
That's what you
acknowledgement
saying.
whispered
I'm
in
about to get
private
evicted and all that.
conversations.
That hurt my
It's
feelings,
going to
babe.
be public
That's
recognition that
embarrassing.
can't be
You
ignored.
was about to get me put
People are
out for that. I
starting
can't
to
have
openly
police
say
come here
things like,
with
I
this
was
program.
completely wrong about them,
I
and
even
I should
told the
have.
police, I warned them because her daughter did kind of warn me, give me a heads up. Shout out for her for doing that because I was able to call and make a report for us. Like, hey, this lady says she coming, so just in case she call, y'all know what's going on. Because I did pay her for it. Just if she gotta take me to court, do that. But I'm trying to like really catch y'all so y'all won't come out here because I can't have police come here. No, I can't. You know what I'm saying? So they took my word and said, okay, well, I'm gonna dispatch out now so that she do call. We gonna make sure we let them know what's going on. Blah blah blah. Not even 10, 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, this lady pulled up with the police, man, and them people was trying to put me out again. The same lady tried to put me out with with having her grandbaby here, blowing her horn, sending the police here, knowing that y'all they was telling me to keep the baby. Both of them, her and her daughter, was
Never
telling me to
listen to
keep the
those
baby.
lies, and this person is
Like in other
genuinely
words,
one of the
the
good
grandma
ones.
and I gotta say this because it fucked up my reputation out here. Like, cause at first when I had the baby, people was like giving the baby gifts for me, bringing it to my house. People that kitchen I got in there, some church that seen the people at the church seen me come there with the baby, dropped it off. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's your day? We see you with the baby, shit like that, and then it went boom. Everybody bullying me because they saying I got this girl. And the girl, even though we not talking no more, it's really not really on her. She just played mind games. It's really on her mom telling her folks stuff that she have her family following her. Her daughter even tell you. Like plenty of times we were doing DoorDash and one of her folks is pop up out of nowhere while we sitting. I'm trying to get an order. They'll come to the window out of nowhere. Hey, like what are y'all like stuff like what the fuck is going on, babe? Like, so imagine, I said, so you see what I be saying when I be out by myself, they do stuff like that, babe. That's not cool. Cause it keep me on edge. Like, I don't like that. And then most people say, hey, why you took got that girl baby taken? Like, I didn't do it's making people act different, treat me different, babe, and bad. And then like the sad part is like I didn't do anything but be a blessing. And this kind of like what a lot of people doing. Like, and this why I always talk about autism too, because then you got the other people in the group that see this, whether it's family, friends, like friends of family, friends of whoever, they see they see that you are way too kind, and then you being misinterpreted. I see that shit happening a lot too. But then what about the people that may say, okay, something wrong with this bitch and bully her, flat her tires? Because that's what's been happening with my goddaughter folks. Like people flat since my shit been here at the house, this motherfucker ain't get touched because they know I got cameras out. But when I be out and about doing orders and stuff, sometimes I have to come to my car, the fucking alarm going off because somebody done did something to the car. Every time it do that too. When I come to the car and the alarm going off, I knew somebody done went in. Something happened. Like like something done wrong with it. Like what the fuck is these like? And I never had these issues until people started like saying, "Hey, that lady said this. She said you said this," and then like, and I like, why people do stuff like that? Because I was really a beacon of hope for the baby and the daughter to begin with. Like the fact that they got DCF stopping my food stamps because they started with my. This is exactly when they started stopping my food stamps when I was helping with the baby. And the mama was like, her mama kept taking her food stamps, so put it on mine so that the baby can have food while she was at my house, because she was here almost every day. The mama was out in the street and I couldn't get a hold of her. She'll just leave the fucking baby with me, like literally. Similar to what my daughter doing. I guess this is a Jim Leo thing. But the girl, this different. This is my grandbaby. That wasn't my baby or nothing. Then they flipped it and said she trying to take the baby from her, when literally the girl was telling me drop the baby off to the fire station and drop the baby off to whoever. She don't want her. So it's like when it flipped to this story right now, I'm like, what the fuck? Because now y'all got DCF stopping my food stamps and everything that's been going on for a whole year and a half, bro. They keep stopping it. And when I went there last time before the baby I only got it one time for the baby though. But every time I went, they kept mentioning her. And I'm like, why y'all, the baby ain't been at my house for a while, baby. Why y'all keep, like, come on. I knew it was something then. But like at this point right now, they keep stopping my shit for no reason. Like literally no apparent reason, not even a real explanation to this point, because the DCF office is in the same office where they make me bring the little girl at. I'm just gonna say that because like shit just real crazy, bro.
Some of your
Crazier than me.
former enemies are being so convicted by the truth that they're becoming your biggest defenders. Some people who participated in spreading gossip about you
I was
are
a
so
fucking beacon of
embarrassed
hope,
by
but they
their
just treat me
actions
like I was
that they're
just.
going out of their way to make it right,
I
even
feel
when
like
you haven't
DCF should
asked
be.
them
They
to.
should at least give me some assistance at this point, because if they could read between the lines and see what the fuck, but I don't give two fucks if they do. I ain't even asking them. I only at this point, um, if at this point, whatever they decide to say and do, bitch, I got proof. I already sent her some. But at this point, it's gonna make DCF look bad. They might well just leave me alone because they real faulty with how they moving. Fuck my goddaughter family. They moving
The
faulty.
beautiful part, you didn't even have to
You
say a
you
word.
you you
Your
can't even talk
character
about me
is
talking about
speaking
it
for
online when
itself
y'all
so
done made this
loudly
lady
that
tell
everyone can hear
everybody and
it over
post
the
that bitch
noise of the
online first. She
lies.
started posting
Something
last year.
happening with your
Come on.
spiritual
I just
purpose
started
that's
talking
even
about it
more
to
incredible.
justify
What if I
myself, because
told
her
you that
folks watch
everything
me on
you've been
Facebook.
through wasn't just random drama? What if I told you
So
that you were
she need to let
specifically
y'all know what
chosen
it
to walk
is.
through this
This let
experience
I want
because
I
you
need to
had the
let them know what it
spiritual
is. Here you
strength to
go, babe.
handle it and emerge
So you should be able to
victorious on
read
the
between
other
the lines
side?
and see the truth.
You see, you weren't just surviving attacks on your character, you were on a divine assignment. You were
I
sent
feel
into
like
certain
people be trolling
situations
me
and
like
placed around certain
like for
people,
real, for real.
not
It ain't
primarily
just
for your
them. Like
benefit, but for theirs.
it's
You
just
were
a
their
lot. And I
test.
be saying to
You were their
myself,
opportunity to choose light over darkness, truth over lies, love over hate. Anyone who came against you was actually being given a chance to align themselves with something pure and real. Those who chose to believe rumors instead of getting to know your heart were failing an examination they didn't even
then
know
try to
they were
say I was
taking.
taking the girl money when
Anyone who
she had me
decided to
buying all that stuff. When she said to me she was gonna sue everybody, I said don't include me in that, because I had to beg y'all to give me my money back from buying stuff for the baby. And the grandma got the nerve to try to convince that girl that, when I be like, boo, don't even do that, because you know motherfucking better that every time you promised me to, you would give me my money back after convincing me to help you with whatever the fuck it was, and didn't give me my shit. I had to force you to give me my money, because she'll come to me and say she don't got no money after I done bought this lady grandbaby clothes, shoes. Yeah, it was from the thrift store. They try to clown me. It don't matter. Yeah, I got it from Facebook Market. It was better than nothing, and she had fly shit. So it's at this point, and it was clean. She didn't wear it straight from there. I washed it. So it's like y'all ain't had. It's like it's crazy, because anybody else would be grateful. Anybody else would be like, girl, you know what I'm saying? Because first of all, it's not this girl baby. It's like the grandma jealous or something. This not her baby. For number one, this she's being kind, and it's like y'all, it's better than how you had her, and then try to flex. We didn't need you to do that. We didn't ask you to do that. And I'm really upset with who I thought was my fucking homegirl, because you called me to come give your baby. You try to convince me, like, your baby coming on the weekend. Can you bring me some food? Oh, I ain't got no food. Tell me this sour bad story. And didn't know your homegirl was going through a lot. Food stamps was, they had just stopped my food stamps. I was off what I was saving from last month, and still, most people won't even do that shit. I still got my little broke, bum, lazy, crazy ass up out of my motherfucking bed. Took me a while. I had to troll first, my body first. But I got to you. I took you with no gas to Walmart and Dollar Tree so you can get more shit, extra stuff that I couldn't get, so that your baby can have stuff. And then you tell me, this is what people say to me. This is why I'm gonna use her as an example. This is what so many people do to me, and I hate when people do this shit. Oh, I didn't need you to get that. I didn't ask you to get that. Like, huh? I didn't need you to do that shit. Like the whole, let's go skip to the girl who was mad that I went and stayed at her house and gonna call my district manager. She should have been in jail. Called my district manager and said I stole their bags, and I was trying to start my own business with them, all because she was having a tantrum mad because I wouldn't stay there. And I realized later that she liked me secretly, but I didn't see it when I was there. She kept trying to be jealous. Oh, my mom likes you a lot. And it was causing, they was yelling early in the morning, oh, you fucking like her more. Like this drama shit. I was only there 3 days. I said, I got to go. My kids ain't stink coming here because they was in the foster care place. And I was preparing for them to come. And when they came that time and disrespected me, I cleaned their whole shit, bought Drano, all that shit. Yeah, I know I ain't have to do it, but my kids was finna sit in no fucking E. coli. I bleached the shit down. I took all the piles of shit from out of their toilet, cleaned the whole kitchen. It was not one. It smelled like bleach and Fabuloso after I was done through the whole house from outside. And she said, I didn't need you to do that. I didn't ask you to do that. Drano only cost $8, bitch. Plus, I brought like several, but it's just not even the amount. It's the effort. And you try to clown me, and she said it on my Facebook page everywhere. And I wasn't even look. So crazy is I don't even really know the girl. We never did nothing sexual. Fact, big fact. She's probably watching me now, so I have no reason to lie. Like I never did nothing with the girl. I never even flirted with the girl. I had to like a white girl with the girl. She's a white girl. Like, this girl went out her way to lie on me and laughed and said, that's why your kids are getting taken. Who says that? Who does that? Hold up.
Join the opposition instead of standing with truth was revealing their spiritual condition. The incredible part, you passed your test with flying colors.
At work saying, you don't need this, you make all the tips. Jealous shit.
Kind despite the cruelty directed at you. You maintained your integrity despite the attacks on your character. You proved that you are exactly who you claim to be, even when it cost you relationships. The people who failed their test are about to learn some lessons that will stay with them forever. What's happening to the people who chose to stand against you? And it's both divine justice and natural consequence wrapped into one. They're receiving exactly what they put out into the universe. Those who tried to isolate you are finding themselves genuinely alone. Those who attempted to ruin your reputation are watching their own credibility crumble among people who matter. Those who work to block your blessings are discovering that their own opportunities are drying up in ways they can't explain. Those who tried to curse your life with their words are finding that their negative speech has become their own reality. This isn't happening because you wished harm on them or because you're seeking revenge. This is happening because the universe has a natural way of bringing balance. What goes around comes around, and their harvest time has arrived whether they're ready for it or not. Some of them are already starting to realize what they've lost. Some of them are beginning to understand that they fumbled something precious when they turned against you. Some of them are desperately trying to find their way back into your good graces, but they're discovering that some doors once closed by betrayal don't easily reopen. Speaking of doors, let me tell you about the incredible new ones that are opening for you.
Want the fastest working GLP-1 for half the price? Rome.
While your enemies were busy plotting your downfall, something incredible was being orchestrated behind the scenes for your breakthrough.
After
It's like
this, I'm
while
gonna
they were
stop the
digging a pit
live
for you,
because my
the
leg's getting numb. So I definitely got to stand up. But when I go inside this time, I am not coming back out here.
universe was building a platform.
So I
New
might as well just stop
connections
the
are being
live.
divinely aligned with your path. People who will recognize your value immediately without having to be convinced. Fresh opportunities are being strategically positioned for your discovery. Chances that will utilize your gifts and talents in ways you never imagined possible. Higher levels of favor are being released over your life. Blessings that will be so obvious that no one will be able to deny that you're divinely protected. The beautiful irony, the very people who tried to keep others away from you have actually created space for the right people to find you. The very people who tried to block your path have actually cleared the way for your divine connections to reach you without interference. The very people who tried to dim your light have actually helped you shine brighter by contrast. Something about what's coming that's going to absolutely shock everyone who thought they knew your limits. You know how they said you'd never amount to anything significant, how they predicted your downfall with such confidence, how they declared that karma was coming for you because of who they believed you to be. What's actually happening, everything they said wouldn't happen for you is about to happen in supernatural abundance. Blessings they said you didn't deserve are about to be poured out on your life like rain after a drought. Dreams they said were impossible are about to become your reality in ways that defy natural explanation. It's not just going to be regular success, it's going to be multiplication that makes people take notice. Your growth is going to be so rapid and so obvious that people are going to know there's something special about you. Your favor is going to be so evident that your former enemies are going to be forced to acknowledge that you are indeed blessed beyond their ability to curse. The timing is going to be so perfect that everyone will know it wasn't just good luck or hard work. It was divine intervention rewarding someone who stayed faithful under pressure, who remained true to their character when it would have been easier to compromise. I know this might sound impossible right now, but you're going to reach a point where you're actually grateful for everyone who came against you, not because you enjoyed the pain they caused, but because you'll realize that they were unwitting participants in your elevation process. This is your darkest moment of understanding, chosen one, because it requires you to let go of victimhood completely. It demands that you see yourself not as someone who was wronged, but as someone who was refined, not as someone who was attacked, but as someone who was tested and proven. Those who rejected you made space for someone better to find you. Those who betrayed your trust taught you to value loyalty at deeper levels. Those who spread lies about you helped you identify who could be trusted with truth. Those who tried to dim your light helped you realize just how brightly you actually shine. They assumed they were tearing you down, but instead they were building you up. They believed they were destroying your future, but actually they were clearing the path to your destiny. They imagined they were winning a war, but actually they were fighting for the losing side without knowing it. What's going to blow your mind? Some of them are going to eventually realize this too, and when they do, their regret is going to be overwhelming because they'll understand they were working against heaven itself. Let me tell you about the superpower you've developed through all of this. Chosen one, you've been through an intensive crash course in human nature, and you've graduated with highest honors. You can now spot inauthentic people from across a room. You can identify manipulators before they even reveal their agenda. You can sense ulterior motives before they're acted upon. You can distinguish between genuine support and performative friendship with supernatural accuracy. This isn't just helpful, it's invaluable beyond measure. Never again will you waste precious time and energy on people who don't deserve access to your heart. Never again will you be caught off guard by betrayal because you'll see it coming from miles away. Never again will you question your intuition because you've learned to trust your inner guidance system completely. Those who tried to fool you actually gave you the greatest gift they could have given, the ability to never be fooled again. Those who tried to manipulate you actually made you manipulation-proof. Those who tried to use you actually made you user-resistant. Your spiritual radar is now so finely tuned that you can read people's true intentions like an open book. You can feel the difference between someone who genuinely cares about you and someone who's just curious about your business. You can sense when someone is speaking from love versus when they're speaking from agenda. This new level of discernment is about to attract something incredible into your life. Because you can now identify authentic people with laser precision, you're about to attract the most genuine, supportive, and loyal tribe you've ever experienced. These aren't going to be people who just tolerate you or people who need something from you. These are going to be people who genuinely celebrate your existence and feel honored to be in your life. Your authenticity draws them like a magnet because it's so rare in a world full of pretenders. Your loyalty becomes precious to them because they've been betrayed by so many disloyal people. Your boundaries earn their respect because they understand the importance of mutual respect and healthy relationships. The beautiful part, when your real tribe finds you, the contrast between them and the people who exited your life is going to be so stark that you'll wonder why you ever tolerated anything less than what you deserved. These new connections won't require you to explain yourself, defend your character, or prove your worth. Value recognition happens immediately, and treatment follows accordingly. Life addition replaces life drainage. Dream support replaces dream limitation. Your victory over slander and lies is going to inspire other people who are walking through similar valleys. Your ability to stay strong under pressure is going to encourage others who feel like giving up on their authentic selves. Your demonstration of what genuine living looks like is going to challenge others to be more real in their own relationships. Living proof emerges from your story that lies don't have to define you, that other people's opinions don't have to limit you, and that staying true to yourself is always the winning strategy in the long run. People look at your life and say, if they can overcome all of that and still shine so brightly, then maybe I can survive my situation too. Your story becomes someone else's hope when they're in their darkest hour. Your testimony becomes someone else's strength when they want to compromise their values. Your example becomes someone else's roadmap when they don't know how to navigate betrayal without becoming bitter. This influence is going to extend far beyond what you can imagine right now, reaching into generations you'll never even meet. Everything you've been through is preparation for something bigger than personal victory. It's preparation for generational impact.
Kennedy said, hallelujah, God still works wonders, putting me in place and position for such miracles and so many
That will
testimonies.
outlive you. The strength you've developed, the wisdom you've gained, the character you've proven, the discernment you've sharpened, all of it is going to serve not just you, but everyone who comes after you. Cycles of dysfunction that have run in family lines for generations will break through your example. Healthy boundaries get modeled for people who have never seen them before. Unshakable self-worth gets demonstrated in a world that tries to tear people down. Navigation through betrayal without becoming a betrayer gets shown to those who need the roadmap. Children in your sphere of influence will grow up seeing someone who doesn't tolerate disrespect, who values themselves appropriately, who chooses quality over quantity in relationships, and who remains true to their values regardless of external pressure or popular opinion. Your life becomes a template for how to live with integrity in a world full of compromise. Your story becomes a blueprint for how to stay authentic when everyone around you is wearing masks. Your example shows others that it's possible to be both strong and kind, both discerning and loving. The most incredible part of your entire journey. The following is a message from Mike, founder of the Obsidian Inner Order, powered by Astral Atom. Look, I know you came here for your chosen one video, but I need a minute.
Okay.
If I don't speak this into the field now, I might never forgive myself. Some of us were born into fire, abused, exiled, haunted by truths no one around us could hold. That doesn't mean we're cursed. It means we were chosen to walk through the veil and come back with the map. Inside the Obsidian Inner Order, we gather every week live on Zoom, face to face. And when I say real people, I mean it. A former military drone operator who now uses his mind as the remote. A millionaire CFO who walked away from everything to become a psychic in NOSA. A spiritual healer once trapped inside a satanic cult, a seer, a sage, a soul who left Mormonism and found the gnosis instead. These are the ones who gave it all up when their calling hit, and that's just a glimpse. And every call is recorded. So when you're alone, when you're crawling through the dirt of your own awakening, you can press play and feel the field again. This is not for everyone, but maybe it's for you. Can you see yourself among us? Join the Obsidian Inner Order, link in the description. Thank you all for supporting the broadcast. We quite literally could not do this without you. There's going to come a day sooner than you think, when you'll be able to look back on this entire experience and see it for what it really was, not an attack on your character, but a revelation of your strength. Not an attempt to destroy you, but a process designed to develop you into who you were always meant to be. Not evidence that you were unlucky, but proof that you were chosen for something extraordinary. Recognition will dawn that those who came against you were actually working for your benefit, even though they had no idea they were serving your destiny. Their lies actually established your truth more firmly. Their attempts to isolate you actually connected you with your real tribe. Their efforts to curse you actually blessed you in disguise. Those who thought they were writing the final chapter of your story actually helped you write the opening pages of your real beginning. So stand tall, chosen one, on the other side of what felt like your darkest season, and you're not just surviving, you're thriving in ways that defy explanation. You're still here, you're still strong, you're still authentic, you're still blessed beyond measure. The slander was too weak because your truth was too strong. The lies were too obvious because your character was too consistent. The plots were too shallow because your protection was too deep. The opposition was too limited because your purpose is too unlimited. They brought human-level warfare to a divine-level battle, and they never stood a chance from the very beginning. You are proven, you are validated, you are vindicated, you are victorious. This is just the beginning of what heaven has planned for your life. Daily awakening brings the knowledge that you've been tested by fire and emerged as pure gold. World navigation comes with the understanding that your character has been examined under pressure and found to be exactly what you claimed it was. Relationship building happens with the confidence that you've been proven to be trustworthy, loyal, and genuine. Those meant to walk with you will recognize your authenticity immediately. Opportunities with your name on them will open up effortlessly as you approach them. Blessings that belong to you will find their way to you naturally, because that's how favor works in the life of someone who's been proven real. Because you're not just a survivor of false accusations, you're a chosen one who walked through the fire of testing and came out refined, strengthened, and more valuable than ever before. You represent hope to everyone who's ever been misunderstood. You embody strength for everyone who's ever been attacked for their authenticity. You demonstrate victory for everyone who's ever wondered if staying true to yourself is worth it when the whole world seems to be against you. Your enemy's words had no power because your life had already spoken louder. Their lies couldn't stick because there was nothing false in you for them to cling to. It's proven facts documented in heaven's records, witnessed by those who matter. You're a real one. That truth is eternal, unshakable, and victorious. Now go forward and shine, knowing that nothing and no one can dim a light that heaven itself keeps burning bright.
I like that. I'm not gonna read that. I thought I was gonna read the chorus, but okay, so hold up. It's kind of like hurting a little bit. I'm not reading that. My landlord knocked on the door. It's a lot of landlord ones on here. Yeah, I thought I caught my tenant using marijuana. Come on, Corey, you gonna give me something good to read? I want to read one of them before I get out. My landlord has picked up rent. Has was living in another. Can my landlord? Dangerous kid. Eviction. Okay. I guess no. Police officer pulls you over. And landlord lease says no as a one. Okay. Is it possible any unrelated forgot? Yes. Let me give Corver a chance. I'm not going to even repeat that. I guess not. I'm not going to read none of that. Cora. Yeah, I love Cora. I caught my neighbor replacing my outside light bulbs with his old light bulbs. I confronted him about it. Okay, if I have to put, yeesh, my mom in the nursing home. I'm 52 years old. Nobody will hire me. I love Trump and hate Cora. Okay, I'm not gonna read that. I don't know why they. It's like I'm gonna go back to it though. Oh, okay, I guess I'll read it because it said in other apps, I love Trump and I hate Cora, and other apps for talking. I mean, he's saying, can y'all stop talking about your hate and start talking about loving in the community instead of these? See, I think the guy being, I don't want to talk about this in this live, Cora, but this the only thing you got good on here. She's saying that, I'm not gonna read all of it. Okay, I'm definitely not reading that. She took it a whole different route. Say Elon Musk says he's autistic. If that is the case, how can he be such an extremely? Okay, let's click on that. I guess I read that. Elon Musk says he's autistic. If that is the case, how can he be such an extremely hardworking person? Never gets meltdown, autistic burnout. I only know autistic people who needs lots of rest and peace, quiet, including myself. Say autism is a spectrum. Therefore, not everyone with autism is an introverted person who struggles to succeed. That being said, we don't know that Elon Musk doesn't have meltdowns or burnout. He probably wouldn't show that to the public, of course. Being that he is famous, he could have a negative effect on it could have a negative effect on his reputation. Not that he needs that to have a negative effect on his rep. I have known other autistic people who did not have meltdowns that often. I went to an autism centered school from year 6 to 12, and many of my peers didn't show that level of emotion where you can't control yourself and it's a mess. Meanwhile, I had meltdowns often, which were regularly triggered by the adults who refused to listen and understand me and my needs. Ellen most likely hides that part of himself. There are things we may never know because he hides it, just like most they never show you. Masking is a thing after all, and when you have the entire public on you, a lot of which would be neurotypicals, you have to hide things about yourself that often might be used against you. I'm a streamer, stemmer. I'll never have a meltdown live. Oh, he said I'm a streamer and I'll never have my meltdown live. At least I would try to avoid it, but it doesn't go like that. He said he'll try to avoid it. My grand my granddaughter is level 2, but she's never had any typical behaviors that people associate with autism. She's just quiet and into her own things. Her struggles are, well, it's obvious she has some type of something going on, and we had evaluations. That's when we found out. Yes, exactly. Point I'm making, not all autistic people are the same or show the typical behaviors of the people you associate with or the people we associate with. I have shutdown meltdowns too, although they get triggered mainly by sound and more so if I have a headache along with loud sounds in my surrounding areas. They look like me covering my ears, sometimes leaning down and making myself smaller, silently crying, being somewhat nonverbal. My struggles are primarily with others, mostly, but I have my issues with sounds and smells and touch as well as texture, but not taste and texture at the same time. And when I was younger, any change happened in my routine or something would cause me problems, I would feel ill, literally like flu like. Wow, all because something changed in my routine. Even if I was excited for the change, like visiting family, I still get ill. I was diagnosed in 2007 as high functioning. I'm not sure where I would fall on the current diagnosis criteria though, right now. One one of my people who's a wild diagnosed. Somebody. Okay, I'll read a couple more. Let's see. One of my people a while ago had a diagnosis of Asperger's. Several colleagues who didn't pay attention to IEPs thought he was bipolar. He generally presented as rather dull and harmless because he was exerting fierce internal filters to pass as normal and get through the day to day of school. When the controls went down, sometimes through sheer exhaustion, his behavior could be bizarre, wielding a chainsaw to illustrate the point, or prancing about with a cheese on his face would have been quite in character because he was. Of course, I'm not a medical professional. Musk may also just be doped out his ground or batshit crazy, but I wouldn't rule it out. The main difference between the two individuals is that really nice people on the spec. Wait, other one is Elon Musk. I agree. Okay, I agree. Autism doesn't make someone a good person or a bad person. All my school bullies bullied me. My autistic meltdowns are messy typically. It also depends on other triggers too. Ellen's triggers may not be present in the public image he puts out. I'm not saying he's a good person or a bad person, just trying to point out that any autistic messiness that comes with us being autistic may be hitting a lot. I like that. Frankly, that besides he strikes me. Well, that was very mean. What on earth is masking for people with autism? Do I want to read this? I guess. What on earth is masking for people with autism and ADHD? I myself have both ADHD and autism and sometimes bipolar, but I don't know if I've masked or not. People can tell there's something up with me, of course. People make it sound complicated, but it's not. Do you in public pretend to not be autistic or have ADHD? Do you expend energy to suppress them? Do uncontrollable things like make eye contact or refrain from mentioning it if a place is too loud or bright for them? That's pretty much masking. LARPing nipple typicals. This person is mad. Smart person too. Like a geeky person. He said LARPing neurotypicals. My mask is the person I learned how to be working in retail. Let me tell you, my customer service personality can handle a lot more than I can, and along with the confidence mom, masking in public is how I manage to do all the things one has to do when raising children so much people in. However, at almost 50, my customer service personality seems to be an extended leave. Oh, be on extended leave. So I'm having a little trouble finding a new mask. So now I guess I have to figure out who I actually am again. But that's life for an autistic person. Wow. That's a good message. I try to give people knowledge because they don't read for themselves. Because when you love a person, you do that so that you can be better, not just them. And then you can help them be better too. Do you know? Mm, I guess I read this one too. It say, do you know any autistics who live fully on their own without support? And this person put, see, A senior backend engineer said, as an autistic individual who lives independently, I can attest that an autism diagnosis doesn't preclude a relatively normal life. Like, for instance, I've successfully pursued a career as a software engineer for nearly 2 decades, a field I genuinely enjoy. Interestingly, my academic background is in chemical engineering, where I earned a master's degree, though I ultimately chose a different path. My life has also included living in Japan for about 6 years, and my remote work allows me to travel extensively, often from my sailboat. While I don't have a wife, I've been in a long term relationship with my girlfriend, though. Living apart from my family and friends doesn't mean I lack support system. The ability to simply pick up the phone and connect with someone is incredibly reassuring. My girlfriend, while primarily living me, there does support. Wait, there have also been periods where I've traveled alone for weeks without seeing anyone. I find this perfectly manageable sometimes. Ultimately, the degree of independence and success an autistic person achieves largely depends on their individual capabilities and level of support. How effectively they manage their condition. Many of my co-workers are also on the spectrum. This is very common in software, and nearly all of them live independently. Is it true that autistic people don't use their core? I like to talk about my landlord and autism. Okay, is it true that autistic people don't use their amazing abilities much because they're just naturally low key? And the amazing abilities of autistic people are almost always things you don't understand or you get tested for. Things that cannot be explained to neurotypical people with much success already. Things that if you reveal you can do simply because people suspect you, disqualify you, makes fun they make fun of you, resent you in some way to diminish the value of what you are literally doing. Wow, I like that. It's not, let's see, hold on. The servant, the seven abilities of artists seen in visual broadcasting containing scenes depicting metaphysical characteristics are not typical of our kind. A typical compatibility connections with a particular subject do happen more frequently in artists, especially those classified as high functional or in the shallow end of trait manifestation and social blindness sometimes. Yeah, I'm autistic as well, and this social cueing sometimes drains me. This other person, I don't know who that. This is draining me. That was Bob Callen said that, but the other person said the seven abilities of artists is seen in visual broadcasts containing scenes. I get it. Depicting metaphysical characteristics. Oh wow, that is so fucking funny. I'm not reading that. Okay, as a person with autism, do you share the problem when you have a hard time to feel grief when you lose someone? I think I think issue is an assumption that there is only one way to express grief, or the right way. If I feel safe, I'll collapse to the floor and ugly cry to the point of masking myself. Sick people are often allergic to their own tears, and stress excavates the condition worse. But I was also trained for a lifetime to not openly express bad emotions, especially tears. Bullies like them. Abusive parents slap you for them. Crying is an activity for private spaces. I think there is a thing with autism about not wanting to be perceived at times. Crying is certainly one for me. And with alexithymia, alexithymia, I know I am feeling an emotion, but I may not immediately be able to classify it satisfactory for you. We feel grief. Grief is a hard time. Many things still have to take place when you are grieving, as a works of service, love language person. I fall into activity and caretaking of people I believe deserve their grief more than me. I was not able for oh, that threw me off guard. I was not able for a myriad of reasons to attend funerals of my own family. Wow. No one told me of the pushing of the passings till months later, or I knew someone who would be present would enjoy causing a scene with me, so I sent flowers and did not attend. Other people who were kind to me, as heartbreaking as it has been, their real family deserved the spotlight and care. So I took time off to do the caring for them and hid in corners and cried here and there when it was safe. My grief is not a dog and a pony show for someone else. It's my pain. I process it as I can, and it's not up to someone else to judge it whether it's worthless. My father passed recently. Father recently passed, and my mother is gravely ill. So things are difficult. I cannot seem to please anyone with any alleged lack of doing what's expected of my lack of visible grief. I shall do it my way, but big hugs up to you. Do you share a problem where you have time to feel intense, but it takes longer to express and process? I feel intense grief, but it takes me longer to express it and process it. At the same time, I am shocked first, and that slows down my ability to respond. But grief lands on my hand and does not leave until I have completely given it into it. Wait, okay, but grief lands on my hand and does not leave until I have completely given in to it and found a place to keep it inside. Hmm. Meaning, mask it, the feelings for it. Once you use the maybe. Okay, they want me to answer that one so bad. I got it 3 times as a person. No, I can't understand. I really confronted my face with my reserve. Take what is interesting. Okay, no, I don't understand not having the feelings I'm supposed to have. However, I either share problems or I just don't. As for grief, maybe I really was confronted by faith, comforted by faith. I am still sure my grandparents are happy and take it for granted. What is interesting though is that I didn't grieve over my grandfather being dead so much as him being weak and losing his dignity. Wow. He was alone. It's like you don't understand that he was a long time dying and he just collapsed. And he was vital before, and I love my. Okay, I don't understand that. I am sure. Oh, he said him and his grandfather was the same. He was autistic. He said, I'm pretty sure he was ready to go. He didn't have support. Um, as a person, you share. Dang, a boss or helper? Do you have a patient tolerance for anybody with a physical? What is why is that diagnosis? Hmm. Have you never taken the time to actually understand? Okay, this person say, why is Asperger no longer a diagnosis? I have Asperger's autism apparently, and I find it extremely disrespectful that I'm considered to have the same disability as someone who strings and bangs their head all day. This is extremely disrespectful, and I think it was just people and they're typical now. And the person answered, why is as wait, it's clear you've never taken the time to actually understand autism or yourself, or you know the spectrum isn't some neat line or the same mild to severe. It's multi-dimensional complex human. You claim to feel disrespected while casually disrespecting others and yourself. That's not confusion, that's performance. Pretending to be autistic, I guess, just to spew hate and division that is not dishonest is pathetic. Certainly smells like another troll hide behind anonymity, hoping to no one, hoping no one notice how empty that argument really is. Autism is different. Mm. Yeah, it was kind of troll. If you're autistic, have you many people? mean to you by okay. If you are autistic, have many people been mean to you by not wanting to answer your questions or just not tell you something? I've come to the conclusion that often neurotypicals do not actually I think I read this, consciously possess the answers I'm seeking, which is why they can be so annoying at times and get annoyed with me so easily. As the party with obviously superior motive for such things, that means I must be the one to figure out the problem, regardless of whose responsibility it was first off. And I have accepted this role as necessity demands. I'm fortunate to have a supercomputer for a brain that is more than capable of crunching all the data. I suspect being autistic has something to do with this. In conclusion, yes, people have annoyed me by not answering questions, but I am convinced they are just being mean, merely just ignorant. Uh, what does being unbothered work so well with your toxic father? Part. What is the best way to deal with judgmental people at church? It's true that autistic people, okay, they keep saying they kind of said extreme aloneness with self-limiting autism, EIA, was suggested by unmistakable evidence of typical symptoms in the first two. It's like assessment. How can I start? I'm autistic. I'm autistic. Can't handle loud noises, but when I'm angry, I put my earbuds in and listen to music loud. At a high volume, it doesn't phase me. It actually helps me. Am I confused by this? Okay. And they said, you asking me if you are confused about this, then I'll answer with most probably. And all this myself, also with anger through loud noises, but my go-to when angry is listening to Eminem laugh out loud, especially the song Kim. Other some music that's depressing, because I was pissed off on merely, and the music gave that anger voice, something to focus on. This is dark humor, but I also love the more upbeat of tempo songs. I think that's what it is. Autistic people have dry humor, and people take it wrong because that was really dry. So look, but I also love the more upbeat or tempo songs. I always loved the slow music, mostly sad music. And only now that I'm older, the loudness of my music can't bother me now. But I still love to have music on at a volume that drowns out surrounding noises. So that's what I'm doing when I listen to my loud music. Is it true that autistic people don't use their mate? They keep sending this to me. Why is being able to mimic it to be? Why is it important? Should I read this? Let me see. Why is it important to understand that being able to mimic neurotypical behavior doesn't change the fundamental experience of an autistic person? It is true that being able to mimic neurotypical behavior doesn't change the fundamental experience of an autistic person. If an autistic person ever mimic neurotypical non-autistics, that does not mean that the behavior is not as much regular, native, or natural, normal, usual human behavior of for an autistic person, such as I'm not gonna say that autistic persons because it's kind of autistic persons have normal behaviors that are not particularly autistic because autistic people are mm, autistic is say something crazy. Okay, because autistic persons are human beings primarily, of course. Autistic behaviors are added layers of autism on the human experience. The autism being added whether hardwired, as some say, or however, autism is just in a person. Autism is in a person. Autism is not about mimicking non-artists. It's about self-protective boundaries for the purpose of keeping a separation from other people and their trespassing behavior acts of like intrusive, invasive, unwanted, and uninvited, and feeling unwelcome. These are problems. Noises, touches, changes, pressures, demands, prompts, threats, obstacles, pathways, routes, and etc. Each of these things can be further unpacked. For example, violated noises, trespassing noises are pegged as misophonia or misophonia, miso hate, or phonia noise. But trespassing noises are not what some say about misophonia, a term used enormous uh, er- erroneously, 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 erroneously to explain trespassing noise still feel wrong. To explain trespassing noise and insensitivity, saying misophonia is about hating certain noises such as chewing food. What is called misophonia is sensitivity to unwanted noises of others, which some don't seem to understand, as they affirm to focus on certain particular noises, such as the sound of chewing, as the primary issue. No, the trespass hangs on two things: whether the trespass is noise, touch, change, pressure, or other things can differ. The act is unwelcome, unwanted. Think about it: uninvited, intrusive, invasive, and therefore violating mentally and physically for them. The trespassing act is something done that is imposed or forced by another person, whether intentionally, unintentionally, wittingly, unwillingly, maliciously, unmaliciously, considerately, inconsiderately, or whatever else. Some trespassing behavior, acts of intrusive, invasive, unwanted, uninvited, unwelcome noises can be dongs or the clock noises on the hour of some clocks of another person. Microwave noises of another person. Someone running like someone else running the microwave. Someone else messing with the clock. Someone running water from the faucet. A ratio of someone that is indefinite, something turned on indefinitely. Also, someone showering, maybe someone using a blow dryer, someone whistling, someone having turned on a washing machine. Yes, the keys here is that these noises are noises of other people, is what I'm telling you. That's what makes it uninvited, rather than one's own noises or noises of other persons that were welcomed from an invite from the heart of that autistic person. Inviting the noise is not by uh, co- 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 coercion or legal agreement signed. Some would try to work it out. Hold up. Inviting the noise is not by coercion or legal agreement signed. Some would try to work it out against an autistic person that way, which is a trespass itself. That I have experienced when threatened with forced uh, issues and preserved to sign things. Uh, Another occasion when threatened with eviction from a group home that I did not. Okay. Autism is also a typical responses that make boundaries, which boundaries make a separation between the actions of the other of another person by their unwanted or uninvited, again unwelcome, intrusive, invasive noises. Those touches, changes, always going dead. Those touches, changes, pressures, demands, prompts, threats, movements, and encroachments, trenching, assaults, etc. An autistic person, think about it. Do you understand what I just wrote? For example, let me tell you: boundaries, such as putting fingers in ears, earmuffs, freezes of not moving or speaking until the trespass stops, waiting in the freeze until the trespass stops, waiting multiple times until one or more trespasses stop, wearing layers of clothing to prevent being assaulted by unwanted touches, keeping back from people. This is a lot. Keeping distance from people, avoiding people, severely limiting interactions with people, arriving late to most things to avoid traffic with people, never going to concerts, shopping at outer perimeters, eating at the perimeter, being a wallflower, not dancing, not going to the middle, not working, staying unemployed for years and decades sometimes. There is another ethology of autism: speech, language, and thinking. Understand the fishes, the deficits, deficits. There's another ethology of autism: speech, language, and thinking, and understanding uh, the fish. I just said it. Understanding deficits. Understanding deficits. Thinking, understanding deficits. That this boundaries type autism dialogue of mind does not address. It's not addressed here. Fidgety Jebbits said that. Okay, I think I'm done now. Cause now Cora being messy now. Said you want to read something? I'll give you something to read. Okay, let me put all this stuff around. Go inside the house now. Take me a shower, and I'm probably gonna watch some more movies because I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna go to sleep. I know I'm not gonna go right to sleep. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for chilling with me. Really, I'm so damn weak. But I'll talk to y'all later.